The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow alone. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Welcome into a Thursday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. We got a busy show today. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we'll be hearing from Brian Driscoll out in South Bend, the recently completed spring game at Notre Dame. We got softball out the wazoo in the 2 o'clock hour. Dave Chrisman from Lisbon will be chiming in on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline at 2:15. Mariah Ciccolelli, the head softball coach at Jackson Milton, will be checking in at 2:40. But we begin today on a perfect note. No, it's not perfect outside. Actually, it kind of sucks outside. But yesterday it was perfect. It was perfect in Howland. West Branch getting the perfect game from their senior Jordan Anderson. A 6-inning Mercy Rule 11-0 victory over Howland. And I don't know what's more impressive, the fact you go 18 up, 18 down, or the fact you only struck out 10, which means 8 balls were put in play, which means West Branch fielded the 8 balls cleanly without any problems. This is a perfect game.
Yeah, and Jordan Anderson's one of the better pitchers in the area. Obviously, now we see her get a perfect game. The third different player to get a perfect game, I believe, in our softball area, because Kohler got one at Myrtle Beach. Bree Callows had 2 of them.
Yeah.
And Jordan Anderson now the third.
Thank God that this isn't Major League Baseball, because they'd have to put an asterisk next to
Wait a
this.
minute.
Or they would sit back and go, well, it's not a complete game, so we can't really give you any credit.
I think when it's in the structure of the rules, like this is a run rule, then
Yeah.
I would just say it's a.
Listen.
perfect game.
Here's an interesting statistic, and I think people better look out for this Division II program. West Branch started out 4-4. They are 9-1 since that 4-4 start. They are playing some really good softball.
Their one loss was to Boardman on Saturday at the Joanne Kernan Strikeout Cancer Tournament at McCoon Park. But yeah, I mean, Jordan Anderson started getting into a groove. Their lineup is ridiculously hard to pitch around because Sydney Mercer is right in the middle. She can mash. Jordan Anderson leads them off. She has, I think, 4 or 5 home runs on the season, so you can't pitch around her because she's in the leadoff spot. You don't want a leadoff walk. So their lineup's extremely hard to navigate because I think Coach Woods does a really good job of. I really like when teams put one of their best hitters, average-wise, power-wise, whatever, at the top of the lineup, because that just puts pressure on the other pitcher right away, right from the gate. You can't pitch around her; you have to go at her to start the game, and I think it really works for that lineup. They're an impressive team, and they're, like I said, their only loss in their last 10 is to Division I Boardman, so they're really gearing up for the tournament. They have one more game against Marlington that they have to try to split. I think if they split, they'll be in contention for the EBC.
I kind of think that, we can look at West Branch in 2 different parts. Part 1 was we lost 2 graduating senior classes. We did not have a lot of kids coming from the freshman and sophomore class who are now juniors and seniors, so we struggled. You throw that out the window. I'm more interested in the what have you done in the last few weeks, and what they have done, simply put, is play some really, really good softball to where 13-5 may not be a look of top 4 or top 5 seed, but I'm sure coaches are looking at, okay, they've won 9 of the last 10. They have our respect. They're going to get a high seed.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they're 5 or 6. Like top 5, I wouldn't think would be a stretch in Division II for West Branch. And they have some tough games left on their schedule that will really gear them up for the tournament.
Yeah, this will be a fun tournament. Stop if you've heard this before. We've
Right.
all been talking about how great the Super Size Me tournaments are going to be in baseball and softball, and obviously with West Branch playing extremely well.
I just feel like I should stay away from West Branch because the 2 games I've broadcasted, they've lost. So I should just be like,
Well, there's
you know
there's probably going to be a note coming down from West Branch going, "Hey, we don't want Anthony anywhere near us."
No, wait, that's not true because I did broadcast their Geneva game. They won, but I had to end the broadcast early because the rain. So I don't know if that counts for me or against me because I didn't broadcast the whole game. And
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know how
what to
that
tell
works
you.
in the universe of broadcasting.
Yeah, I don't know what
Things.
to tell you.
I thought you were the expert in causing teams to lose with your broadcast.
I don't believe in any of that crap.
Oh.
So it's I'm sorry that you guys don't play well when I broadcast your games.
Whether you believe in it or not, it's true. Just
okay.
You can't go into jail and be like, I don't believe in prison. Well, too bad, you're still in jail.
Well, I mean, come on, that's an apples and onions argument. Forget about the apples and oranges. That threw an onion at you. Crestview bounces back from getting humbled by Champion. They shut out Beaver Local. They scored all 6 of their runs in the 4th inning. Caden Sutton, 8 punch outs. She was effectively wild. She walked 5 batters. But they only allowed 2 hits and 1 error, so 5, 2, 1, 8 base runners. That's almost 3 innings worth of base runners, but they still shut out Beaver Local.
Caden Sutton's starting to turn into a workhorse a little bit. And just like we talked about Katie McDonald yesterday, I'm kind of starting to get a little worried on what Caden Sutton's going to feel like come tournament time because there's all of a sudden these games that Crestview needs to win that they're pitching her for, and because they need to win, they need to throw her into the circle, and you're starting to see her get a little bit of command issues, and of course what happened against Champion. You hope that they can find some way to get her some rest in the next couple weeks before tournament.
Yeah, I would think McKenna Schultz is going to be used quite frequently in the next few games.
A nice day off because of the rain, and as much as we don't like not having games, some pitchers are saying, "Oh, thank God."
Yeah. And we kind of figured that today would be very limited, if any, because the weather was going to be pretty ugly, and I feel bad for the people up in Cleveland that are going to be going to the draft tonight. They're going to be wearing ponchos or having an umbrella. It's all outdoors, and I don't even know if they're going to allow umbrellas. So hopefully, people have ponchos or garbage bags that you have cut out a hole to put over your head. Just something to keep you dry because it's going to rain all day long. There's just no other way to put it, and it's gonna be a lot of rain. So. It is what it is.
Yikes.
Matthews shutting out Lordstown yesterday. Becca Landis, 1 hitter, 8 punch outs, no walks. Matthews is 15-4. We've talked a little bit about this team. 15-4 is a wonderful record. It's the quality of opponents that has me kind of befuddled. I would say they're a high seed in Division 4, but can you put them higher than McDonald? You know who McDonald has played. You know the quality of competition McDonald has played. I don't know the quality of competition Matthews has played in comparison.
It all depends how McDonald kind of closes out the season because, they're starting to skid a little bit. They lost to Girard on Monday, and so we'll see how if McDonald can maintain that that premium record that will earn them the top seed in Division 4.
Well, they had a hell of a game against Brookfield. Now, this wasn't the cleanest game played because the two teams combined for 5 errors. But anytime you get a 2-1 game, those are exciting games. You can have an exciting pitcher's duel, and you can also have an exciting slugfest in any softball or baseball. This was a pretty good game. Bricalo, 12 punch-outs, no walks. Schultz was on the mound for Brookfield, 6 strikeouts, no walks. Both teams had 6 hits.
I love that both pitchers had no walks.
Yeah.
No free bases.
Yeah, there you go. Except for the errors.
But no free bases from inside the circle.
Yeah, and it was a clean game in terms of limited amount of walks. Get the defense straightened out. But all the runs were scored in the 5th inning. McDonald scored their 2 in the top of the 5th. Brookfield came back with a run in the bottom of the 5th and could not tie the game. So McDonald hangs on for the victory, and there we go.
Bree Kohler got her 500th career strikeout last night in the Raiders 7-0 win over Lakeview. And that just makes me imagine what that number could have been if she had her junior season.
Oof.
I mean, it's 500 minus 1 whole season.
What's an average year? I mean, for Bree, 500 divided by 3 is 170 and change?
Yeah, 2.5 right now. So, I mean,
okay.
170 per year on average and change.
Yeah, she would be up near 700, close to 700.
Whew.
Yeah, wow.
If she had an average year her junior year.
Holy smokes. No runs, 5 hits for Lakeview. South Range scored 2 in the 2nd, 1 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th, 2 more in the 7th inning. They get the shutout victory.
I like that from the offense, that it just kept coming. Like, it wasn't one jagged inning and then cold for the rest of the game. That makes the score look flashy, but that also means that your offense is really hot and cold. I kind of like when I see offenses score 2 runs here, 2 runs here, 3 runs here, 1 run here. It means your offense is continuing to make rallies out of clean innings.
Yeah, and they're consistent.
Because every inning starts with the bases empty. So if you're continually to put runners on base and move them in, inning after inning, that's, in my opinion, that's a little bit more impressive than one inning where you score 10 runs and then you don't score the rest of the game.
Yeah, a lot of traffic throughout the game. So Suzanne with 3 hits, including a home run, 3 runs batted in for South Range, and we've made mention South Range will be a legitimate power in Division 3, along with Ursuline, along with Champion, and it'll be fun to see which one of these 3, or possibly 2, depending on how many upsets occur. Only 2 of the 3 are going to be going on to regional play. I think that's the element that I'm looking forward to more than anything else.
Did you see Champion in a much more competitive game in the MVAC last night against LeBray?
You and I were talking about
7-3.
this. You and I talked about this off the air. Crestview has to look at that and go, why the hell were we so tight against this team?
Right.
We'll talk a little bit more about that because we got a lot of softball, a lot of baseball to talk about, and a lot of time in which to do it during the course of the day. Not to mention the fact we have Anthony Hartwig's review of PNC Park, and we also have our top 10 picks in tonight's NFL draft, which should be entertaining as well. That'll be coming up later in the show. Coming up in a bit, we are going to chat with our guy from Notre Dame. Brian Driscoll comes on the program. We got spring game Notre Dame a week late to talk about. We also have a little bit of recruiting to talk about. We'll have a conversation it'll be a short conversation with Brian Driscoll, and then we get back into our baseball, softball review of PNC Park. I'm really looking forward to that, by the way, because there are people around these parts that don't believe PNC is the nicest park in Major League Baseball, to which I say, interesting. All right, 330-886-0813. We're back in a bit. Stick around, more to come.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Hi, this is Jim Myers with Myers Family Insurance, your local Medicare and retirement resource. We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Your first and last stop with your tax return should be with me, Tracy Bryden at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. No other dealer goes the extra mile to bring you the largest selection of vehicles at one convenient location. With guaranteed credit approval, I will find you the right vehicle and the right financing options for you. I am ready to go the extra mile to show you why no other dealer sells more cars, finances more, and gets you more for your refund than Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Many, many thanks to Tracy Bryden, 1979 Leetonia grad, don't you know? It is a Thursday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Let's go from our studios in the beautiful town of East Palestine, Ohio, and through the magic of Ma Bell, we will go to South Bend, Indiana, where Brian Driscoll is hanging out, anticipating the upcoming Blue Gold Notre Dame spring game. What's going on, Brian?
Oh, not too much, buddy. Busy time of the year. It's that weird instance where the draft and the Blue Gold game are all kind of right on top of each other. So it's been a very, very busy week.
Yeah, and under normal circumstances, we'd already have the Blue Gold game, but everyone knows it's not normal, although things are starting to percolate a little bit. Before we get in to the Blue Gold game and the draft as far as who to look for Notre Dame to be drafted, is there any word out of South Bend anticipating a full stadium this fall?
I haven't heard a peep about that. And just the way that Notre Dame has been ultra-conservative, I would not be surprised that if there is some sort of limited capacity this year, unless there's a situation where everybody just opens up. Notre Dame has been very reserved with that. They're not allowing anyone to be at the Blue Gold game, for example, outside of family and students and things like that. So unless everybody else opens up, I don't see Notre Dame opening fully up either, based on what they've done so far.
Okay.
Hopefully that changes.
Blue Gold game comes up this weekend. Has anyone stepped up the quarterback position to take over the position vacated by the now graduated Ian Book?
Well, I fully anticipate Jack Cohn being the quarterback, but the reason that he's not being named the starter right now is mainly because both he and Drew Pine are playing extremely well. From everyone I've talked to, Jack Cohn's having a really good spring, but Drew Pine's having a great spring as well. So I do think it's a genuine quarterback battle, and I think it's a quarterback battle for the right run. You know this, man. You can have a quarterback battle for the wrong reasons because there's nobody stepping up, and then you can have a quarterback battle for the right because multiple players have been playing really, really well. That's the scenario for Notre Dame right now. I believe there's a genuine quarterback battle because Drew Pine has had a really, really big spring, as has Jack Cohn.
No question about that. And I'm going to be very curious to see if the blue gold game becomes the determining factor. In other words, if one of those quarterbacks clearly outplays the other one, if Brian Kelly decides, okay, we got ourselves a winner.
I sure hope not, because I just don't care about spring games from a results standpoint. I mean, Nate Montana won the MVP of Brian Kelly's first spring game. I just don't put a lot in the spring games from a performance standpoint. And I think it's not something that's going to overtake the 14 previous practices. This battle's going to go into the fall. I would expect Brian Kelly, even if a starter emerges early in fall camp or even before fall camp, I don't anticipate Brian Kelly announcing that decision until we get much, much closer to the first game, even if everyone inside the program knows it's going to be one quarterback over the other.
Brian, what are you looking forward to seeing on Saturday in terms of who is produced in spring camp and springboarding themselves in this blue gold game?
You know, I want to see the wide receivers. I want to see them get a chance to make some plays. I want to see what the offense is going to look like. You know, we're hearing a lot of things from Tommy Rees and from other people that they're making some alterations to the offense that are going to make me happy. I think are going to make you happy. I want to see if the defensive line is as good as advertised. They've been really dominant in the little highlight clips that we get. Now we get a chance to kind of see them on a full-time basis. And then I'm looking forward to seeing who steps up in the secondary. You know, who Houston Griffith, Tariq Bracy, Cam Hart. Do any of those guys really step up and finish off what I've been told has been really good springs by each of them and finish it off in impressive fashion with strong performances in the blue gold game?
Brian Driscoll, our guest, he is our Notre Dame guy. This coming weekend, the blue gold game at South Bend. Again, only friends and family allowed, as the COVID protocols are in full gear, at least for now. And hopefully, come fall, we'll ease back and actually have some people, or more than half of the stadium. And let's be honest, Brian, hopefully the full stadium is in play and everyone gets back to normal. But, you know, again, whatever. Listen, we get the draft. Listen, I'm to the point now, I'm getting my second vaccination on Friday. And I'm not this Friday, next Friday. And the CDC a couple of days ago said, okay, you no longer have to wear a mask. Well, I'm wearing a mask anyway, unless I have to going into a store or whatnot. I ain't wearing a mask afterwards unless their rule states that I have to.
Yeah, it's an interesting period of time.
No doubt.
It really is.
No doubt. All right, the draft is tonight, and there are some interesting landing spots, potential landing spots for some of Notre Dame's players. Before we get into the obvious guys that will probably be taken in the first round, the guy that I think can be the player that makes a team's draft from very good to great, good to very good, is Tommy Tremble, the tight end. And I have been hoping, praying, and saying a few Hail Marys that the Buffalo Bills, if they don't jump up and get Kyle Pitts, that they wait and hang around in the second round, maybe move up and get Tommy Tremble, because I think this kid is going to be some kind of special in the NFL.
You know, I've read multiple mock. I actually had an article out today, Ron, at IrishBreakdown.com, where I went through over 40 mock drafts and kind of put where Notre Dame guys are landing. You know, a lot of those mock drafts are only one round, but there was one from NFL.com that had the Bills taking Tremble in the third round with the 93 overall pick. And he's a very intriguing player because, as you know, he wasn't utilized very much in the pass game, but he is a guy that has a lot of talent. I've read scouting reports where people say, you know, the quarterback play and the offense held him back from a production standpoint. I think that's partially true. I think there was also some things that Tommy did to hold himself back, and he's got to become a more consistent player. But you know, you're getting a guy that if he came back next year, and let's pretend for a second there was no Michael Mayer at Notre Dame, and he's a guy that could be competing to be one of the top tight ends, if not the top tight end in the draft in 2022. So, you know, he came out probably a year earlier than he should have, which means if you can scoop him up in the third round, I think you're getting good value, and I think you're getting a player that has a lot of upside, and his best football is certainly ahead of him.
One of the other players that I believe is going to land in the first round, Liam Eichenberg, A lot of talk of Indianapolis taking him, which surprises me because Indianapolis has a rock-solid offensive line. But anytime that you can get a Notre Dame offensive lineman, you're improving your line play.
Yeah, I think with Anthony Costanzo retiring, that's really what opened up the need for a tackle for the Colts. And now I don't know if the Colts are going to go with that in the first round like a lot of people think that they're going to do. They could go for best player available. There's other needs that the Colts have, but obviously that left tackle spot is going to be key. But that's really what makes this Liam Eichenberg situation intriguing, Ron, is do teams view him as a left tackle? Because Brian Kelly doesn't view him as a left tackle in the NFL, apparently, based on what he said during Notre Dame's pro day. But other scouts in the NFL do view him as a left tackle, and so the Colts haven't needed a left tackle. If they view him as a left tackle, they could take him in round 1. If they don't view him as a left tackle, then they'll go a different direction, and if he's around in round 2, then maybe they look at him again. But they're set at right tackle with Braden Smith. Their need is at left tackle. So it's going to be very intriguing to see how they view him from a position standpoint.
Okay, there are a bunch of Notre Dame fans in northeastern Ohio who happen to be Cleveland Browns fans. And Koromoa, the linebacker, this is the guy that most Browns fans who are Notre Dame fans are clamoring for. It's no secret the Browns linebackers have underachieved and are below average, and that's being kind. You get a guy that could be a hybrid type of linebacker into Cleveland. Boy, could this kid be special. Is there any chance this guy falls to 26 with the Browns, or the Browns jump up and get him?
I think if the Browns are going to get him, they're going to have to jump up. Because when you get down to, one of the most popular picks of the mock draft season was Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah to Washington at number 19. I had like I said, I went over 40 mock drafts. 15 of those mock drafts had Washington taking Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. 14 of them had him taking him at number 19, and then one had him trading down to 23 to take him. So I think when you look at that, I think when you look at the Dolphins at number 18, I think there's some places in there, Ron, where you look at kind of 17 to 25, where there's some potential people that could really like Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, and if people know that the Browns like Owusu-Koramoah, and in that mock draft roundup, the Raiders and Browns were the next top spot with 6 different mock drafts taking him there, 6 of them with the Raiders at 17, and then, of course, the Browns at 26. So if the Browns really like him and they view him as their guy, that's the guy that we need on defense, I think they're going to have to move up to get him. And they've got decent draft capital to do that. So I think that it's going to be I think I'll be a little surprised if he falls all the way to 26. But if that happens, the Browns have to be doing backflips if they do view him the way that fans do, and I think they should, because to me he's a mid-first round talent that to me would only fall because there's a lot of people that still aren't comfortable taking a guy who doesn't necessarily have a specific position to play.
I want to go back to Eichenberg before we let you go. It's no secret the Steelers have some deficiencies along the offensive line as well, and they lost their left tackle. They could use some offensive line help. Eichenberg would be a great fit, I would think, for Pittsburgh.
I think that'd be an outstanding fit for Pittsburgh. Look, I think Pittsburgh has needs at left and right tackle, and I think they have needs at guard, especially when you look at David Castro's probably in the tail end of his career, and Liam Eichenberg's the guy that could play any of those positions at a high level, and I think that versatility is going to be something important. I really think he's a left tackle, and I know the arm length and all that kind of stuff. Joe Thomas didn't have very long arms either, and it was never something that to me showed up on film. And that's what I look for. Does that Robert Hainsey's lack of length showed up on film, and that's why he's got to be an interior player. I was shocked when Liam Eichenberg's measurements came in because that just didn't show up on film. And I think Pittsburgh would be a team that if he's around in the 20s and they can grab him if he falls to them, I think that would be a great pick for them.
Hey, Brian, we will chat before the season starts. Enjoy your summer, and this is a fun time of the year. Even though it's the off season, it is a fun time of the year.
Oh, absolutely. We've got spring game coming up. We've got the NFL draft. There's a chance that up to 10 Notre Dame players could get picked this weekend. And, of course, there's lots of recruiting going on. So make sure that you check out IrishBreakdown.com. We'll have all of it.
All right, Brian, always a pleasure, sir.
Thanks for having me on, Ron.
You got it, brother. Brian Driscoll, our Notre Dame guy, joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Eichenberg to the Steelers. That makes sense. That actually makes a lot of sense, given the fact Pittsburgh has some offensive line deficiencies with a couple of guys now gone, and as Brian mentioned, DeCastro is in his early 30s. His career is starting to wind down. That's actually not a bad selection for the Steelers if they wanted to go there. It's not a sexy pick to pick an offensive lineman in the first round, but I think the Steelers are an intelligent team.
Since when have the Steelers gone for the sexy pick? I mean, they're always. I think at this point the Steelers draft is above reproach. I mean, they almost never have a bad draft.
Yeah.
So whoever they pick, I'm like, hey, you guys know something, you're good.
They're the smartest. They're one of the smartest kids in the room. They're the person that I would look over and kind of, oh, you answered this question? Okay, yeah, all right, we're gonna do that. Yeah, that's good.
The Steelers, they don't knock every draft out of the park, but I can't even remember the last time they've had a quote unquote bad draft where you just go, well, what are you doing? You know what I mean? So,
yeah, I think the last time they did that, they had Ron Rivera. Gabe Rivera, not Ron Rivera. Gabe Rivera was was their first round draft pick, and he was a bust, and then tragically became a quadriplegic, which sucks. But his NFL career was not very good. That was during a time in the '80s when the Steelers were an average franchise. So it is what it is. All right, back we go to our softball and baseball conversation. You and I talked a little bit off the air about Cardinal Mooney and Harding and their game. Elaine Francis, a dozen strikeouts, 12 walks. Mooney started out slow, just like West Branch. They started out slow, but Mooney's gotten a lot better. They're now 10-5 on the campaign.
Warren Harding's not one of our teams, but they've struggled all year. I mean, you see their scores and you just go, man, they're going through the ringer. So to have a game against a solid team like Mooney and to be competitive and not get run ruled is a big step for that program, because there are some programs that are taking steps to be, and we talk about taking steps to be district champions, taking steps to go to regional, but Warren Harding's just trying to take steps to become someone that can compete. And last night might be one of the stepping stones where they can say, hey, we have the talent to compete. It's obviously there. We just proved it. 8-3, very competitive softball game. Let's just try to bottle that, use it as some momentum and keep building. Hopefully they can find some consistency in a coaching staff that stays with them for a while, and they can continue to build that program because they have such a nice facility that they deserve kind of a competitive softball team to go with it.
I could draw a parallel on the baseball side of things to Sebring. Right. Monday, I umpired their game against Western Reserve, and it was 20-0. I mean, it was a really bad game in the field and otherwise for Sebring. Yesterday, I umpired their game at Pemberton against Youngstown East, and they lost 5-4. And actually played a good game. Now they committed 4 errors, and that needs to be
errors are on different scales too. Like, were they like physical errors, mental errors? I mean, one's a little bit worse than the other. I mean, I'm sure the errors on Monday were like, because you don't lose 20-0 unless you're just doing stuff that you're.
Yeah, there were a lot of ground balls and fly balls that should have been fielded and caught, and they weren't on Monday.
I'm sure last night they were more just errors that come as okay.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. But I commented during the game, in between innings, to the head coach. I said, Coach, I umpired your guys' game on the bases on Monday. You guys are a million times better today.
Right.
And he said, well, we saw Western Reserve and everyone freaked out because, Western Reserve, that cachet. Now, I don't necessarily know if it's the same Western Reserve team that for a couple of years, went to Columbus and went to the state semifinals one year, the state championship game another year.
We talked about it when the program does that. Even if there's a drop off,
you get cachet.
It brings that. Oh my gosh, we're playing this team, and they've won a couple of state champions. They've been there, you know.
Yeah. So I mean, and I think that's the great example when we talked about with Crestview. Having that, oh my gosh, we're playing champion, and then turn around the next day and then beat Beaver local.
As much as it sounds backwards, the more I think about it, the more I think that Crestview wanted that game too much. And
I agree with you.
You know what I mean? Like, I think they saw that champion was down a little bit, and they probably, their eyes got really big. Oh, we can beat champion. We only have one loss in the league. They're undefeated. This is a meaningful MVAC game, and we have a shot. And then, when unfortunately, when you want it really bad and you're not focused on the moment, that can really get away from you. And champion's good enough that if you're not, if they smell blood in the water, they're like sharks.
Yeah,
they'll step on you real quick.
Yeah,
and then after the first game, then Crestview's tight because we have to win this one. And I feel like the tightness kind of made the second game just as bad. So
and when you give up 22 first inning runs in two games, oof.
Really good to see them mentally bounce back from that and have a solid win over Beaver Local 6-0 and just kind of wash that taste out of their mouth because there's nothing they can do about it now except move on.
Yep.
And try to get as good as they can for the tournaments.
Yep.
So
and Sebring, though they did not get a win, they left the tying run at third base. In the seventh inning. And here's the thing that I have never seen before in any level of baseball, high school and above. I've never seen this happen, and I was on the bases to see this happen, and I actually had to retrace in my mind what exactly happened. There's a guy at second base, 1 out. Sebring has a runner at second, the tying run at second base in the top of the seventh inning. And one of the Trojan kids pops one up to the second baseman. And the second baseman makes the catch. This kid goes and tags up at second base and runs to third base, and he gets in safely. And I look over and I'm like,
popped up in behind. Where was it caught?
Routine second base, caught the ball, and this guy's tagging up and going to third base. I looked at this and I was like,
it's not an infield fly, right?
No, because there wasn't a runner at first base.
First base, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at this and I'm going, I don't think I've ever seen this before. And the kid, he had his secondary lead. Ball gets popped up. He runs back to second base. He's on the bag. Kid catches the ball. He tears off toward third, and I'm like, oh, this isn't going to end well. And the kid at second base bobbled the ball. So I'm like, there you go.
Something to be said about doing something unexpected and putting pressure on that defense. Like, baseball logic says don't do that, but at a high school level, when you put a pressure on that kid, and that kid he's never, this kid's not running, it's a pop-up to second base.
Yeah.
Catches it, oh my gosh, he's running.
Yeah, and he's
got to make that split decision.
Catches it, and the ball's like, and he's like going like this, the runner takes off for third.
If you're not a seasoned baseball player, all of a sudden that moment gets a lot tight, and you can make a real big mistake.
I couldn't believe what I saw. And of course the East coach is saying, wait a second, that's the third out. He just stepped on second base. I said, no, coach, he tagged up. What do you mean he tagged up? Coach, he went back to second base, foot on the bag. As soon as the ball was caught, he tore off toward third. I mean, logically, it doesn't make any sense because in normal circumstances, you're out by about 50 feet, but it was done. I couldn't believe what I saw.
But by the rules, it's good.
Yeah, exactly. Good. I
love the cojones on that to tag up on.
Oh, I know. I was telling this kid, I was like, you get some huevos, kid.
He had some huevos.
And he's like, what are you talking about? I said, you just tagged up from second to go to third. He goes, well, I knew I could beat it. Oh.
I knew it.
Okay. All right.
Fist bump to that. Man.
All right.
That is supreme confidence in yourself and.
Well, this is a kid
I knew I could beat it. I love that.
This is a kid that started a triple play on Monday against Western Reserve. There's runners at second and third, nobody out. Kid hits a sinking line drive, and this kid's playing in center field. And he makes an unbelievably good catch. in center field, and the ball was, his glove was like this, not turned inside.
Sweet.
His glove was upward instead of turning it like this, so his upward. So it's kind of weird that
he's diving forward.
And he's diving forward to make the catch. He probably should have went like this.
Right.
It's not how you're taught, but he's like this. But I knew that he caught the ball because I didn't see the ball bounce, and he had the ball on the grass. He had the glove on the grass, so I didn't see the ball bounce into the glove. It was a great view. So I'm like, boom, and the runners are already across home plate.
Right.
So he's like, no big deal. Flip it to second base. Boom, flip it over to third. Boom, go back into the dugout. You get a triple play. And the Western Reserve coach is like, really?
Oh.
I'm like,
I'll tell you.
Caught the ball, coach.
Yesterday at PNC, I saw something that I have never seen before. I mean, I'm sure it's happened because at this point in MLB, it's probably happened before. I can't recall seeing it. The Gonzalez hit a home run, 2-run shot to make it like 6-2 in the sixth or whatever. I don't remember what inning it was.
I watched the game, and I'm going to...
The next batter comes up, and it's Stallings.
Yep.
Drills one to left.
Yep.
Left center. Our center fielder books it and jumps. And, you know, the fence at PNC Park, they're not that tall in left.
8 foot.
It's like, so he jumps to catch it. And it goes into his glove in the field of play. And then he hammers into the wall. And it flips out of his glove over the wall for a home run. So he carried it over the fence. So it wasn't hit a home run. He gave a little assist. And it was like, oh.
Yeah.
That moment at PNC was great because the fans were home run, got caught, home run. And I was the opposite. Home run, got caught, home run.
The scary thing is, because I was watching that on TV, because the Pirates game was televised last night, the glove almost went out of his hands and into the left field area.
And I watched that replay like 5 times. I still couldn't see the ball. Like, I couldn't see it come out. I was like, where'd the ball go?
Yeah, exactly.
But he came down and it wasn't in his glove anymore. I was like, but I watched it like, I don't have the best vision, but I watched it like 6 or 7 times. And I could never see the ball come out of his glove.
Yeah, and it's a violent collision, but the good news is those walls are padded.
Right.
It's not like a minor league wall where it's a wooden wall and you are really going to be hammered when you go into that wall.
That's it. I mean, as the outfield, you want your glove to be a little bit loose so you can reach a little bit longer.
Sure.
And on that particular play, it backfired because the glove was loose and it kind of slipped out of his hand.
Yeah.
He couldn't really have a grip of it.
Yeah, that was entertaining to say the least.
It was a good. I mean, 9-6. It's a good quality game with a bunch of action and a bunch of offense. So
it was a good time at the ballpark. We'll get your review in a little bit. I'll be curious to hear that.
We got some baseball scores, though.
Yes, we do.
That I don't think we got to yet.
Yes, we do. We do have plenty of baseball scores. West Branch was cooled off a bit by Canton South.
Split.
They wind up splitting the series. West Branch falls to 13-6. Canton South gets the victory 5-2 over West Branch. Pretty clean game. Both teams committed an error, so that's actually not a bad game. South Range got a really good performance from Aiden English. 5 strikeouts, 3 walks, but they didn't mercy roll. They should have mercy rolled. They were up 9-2, but they scored 5 runs in the 7th inning to make it 14-2.
Right.
Yeah. So the Range gets their 13th win of the season.
Trey Pancake was just on fire at the plate as well.
Yeah, I mean, we could pretty much put that on a loop and use it every day.
Pancakes on fire. It's not good for breakfast, but it's great for South Range baseball.
Put some syrup on this pancake. Let's see, a home run, 3 singles. Yeah, he's
good.
5 RBI. He's good.
He's good.
There's a reason why he's going to Ohio State. He's pretty good.
Jefferson got the win over Girard. 3-2 in the NE8, the close one, a very competitive NE8 that we see a lot of close scores despite the 14-2 we just talked about. Most of the scores in the NE8 are pretty competitive. Not a lot of run rules in there.
Fitch nickeled and dimed Ursuline 10-5. Or if you're an Ursuline fan, you got a 5 and dime store.
Right.
Fitch beat Ursuline 10-5. Wasn't a clean game though. Both teams committed 3 errors, but Fitch goes to 12-4 on the campaign, and that's 12-4. I'm going to be curious where Fitch gets seated in a ultra competitive Division I tournament.
Salem keeps trucking along. 6-2 over Carrollton, just minding their own business, just trucking along in the EBC.
Well, they did a lot better defensively in this game than yesterday when they committed 9 errors.
I imagine they got a stern talking to.
Oh, God. I would have loved to have been a fly in the wall just to hear their coach light these kids up. But it worked because they only committed 1 error. And they got 3 runs in the 5th, 3 in the 6th. They were down 2-0 going into the 5th inning. And then Salem scored crooked numbers in the 5th and 6th, putting up a 3 spot each. Quakers are 17-3. And again, they're a very quiet, very
you hear that?
Very interesting team.
That is the sound of the Quakers coming this way. The champion 7-2 over Campbell. They keep this kind of they're kind of under the radar too. No one's talking about champion baseball because I think all the eyes are on their softball team because 3 state championships in a row and everyone wants to talk about softball. But baseball team keeps doing their work. 7-2 over Campbell. They're well above 500 record-wise, and they're going to be a team that everyone's going to have to watch out for in Division III.
Well, and they also have the pedigree of winning a
Right.
championship recently, so they should be monitored a little bit more. But I'm kind of with you on this. I mean, I think a champion boys baseball team has been overshadowed, and it sucks for them because this actually is a pretty good baseball team.
Right.
But when you have a softball team that has just gone through the entire state of Ohio, Division III, like a hot knife through butter, you're kind of looking at,
good work, guys.
We're pretty good here. Can you spell championship, please?
Oh, God.
Shut up, kid. We're still looking for the softball team.
More.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. There's no begging going on. I don't understand. I mean, but that's how good champion softball team is. I mean, this baseball team, they got done beating Crestview twice, and Crestview, not a bad baseball team. They beat Brookfield yesterday 4-1, but champion's going to be heard from in the D3 tournament in baseball. They just will. Have we mentioned that we're looking forward to the tournament? Holy smokes. And we got Jefferson. You mentioned Jefferson over Girard.
Yep.
Mooney beating Ursuline on Tuesday, part 2 of the Holy War. And again, Mooney is starting to ramp it up. And both of those teams are Division III, which is just going to make the D3 tournament that much better. And it just bears repeating. Unfortunately, there's only going to be 2 teams coming out of each of the Super Size Me district. So there is going to be a lot, and I mean a lot of baseball and softball.
One of the unfortunate, probably the biggest matchup that's being canceled tonight because of rain. Canfield was supposed to play Alliance
In baseball.
and I think Bruno was supposed to pitch.
Oh, Gavin Bruni, if he pitches, that would have been the ultimate test.
Now they reschedule it, but there's no guarantee that it'll pop up on Bruni's rotation spot.
Well, I mean, it depends on how fast they reschedule it.
Right. But it's not a league game, so it'll probably be lower priority.
Well, I mean, does Alliance really have a shot? I don't think they have a shot in all get out to win the league. So why not just save them for that game and basically just say, oh, by the way, and I think Alliance is 1, so it wouldn't matter. But if Alliance were 2, I'd be like, oh, by the way, this is a preview of what is to come. But I think Alliance is 1.
If they weren't 1, I don't know. If they were 2, now we go back to Coach Cheryl's strategy and say, we're not going to show you this kid before the tournament. Which one do you do? Do you send the message and say, we're here, you better be afraid of us? and then in the tournament they're going to see him again, or because that's a gamble. Because if you don't win that game, or if he gets hit up, then you're hosed. Because any intimidation that he brought to that game is gone. But if it goes your way and you guys shut down Canfield, then all of a sudden that plan really works.
With his velocity, I would be almost tempted to just sit back and go, yeah, this is a preview of the ass whipping we're about to give you, and that'll be the end of that. But again, I mean, it's in his case, he throws so hard, mid-90s, touches the upper 90s every now and then, and there's no question he is going to be drafted. The only question is where, and will he get out of the Ohio State if he's a first-round draft pick. My guess is he gets to be a first-round draft pick, and he doesn't go to college, and he'll go to the pros with a seven-figure bonus with him. But I mean, if Alliance were Division II, I would be really, really tempted to say we're going to announce our presence with authority right now, because yeah, you can prepare for a 90 some odd mile an hour fastball, but you still got to stand in the batter's box, and you still got to time mid to upper 90s fastball with movement. That's tough to do.
Every time I see Alliance baseball, I feel like I'm watching 1980s baseball, because they have the powder blue uniforms with the red helmet that kind of remind me of the old St. Louis Cardinals.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit, maybe the Phillies.
Well, I
too.
mean, the Canfield Cardinals are wearing the Cardinals on the bat. I mean, that's...
Right, but then the Alliance is going like the all powder blue red helmet.
Yeah.
Kind of get out. And it's like, man, no one's used all powder blue since back in the day when powder blue was like the thing in the MLB.
The early 80s powder blue was
felt like
was
every
awesome.
team was in powder blue.
Yeah, the powder blue stuff was phenomenal. I remember the 82 Cardinals wearing the powdered blues against Milwaukee in the World Series. I'm like, that kind of looks pretty good on them.
Do you remember the going back, and I am feeding into Ron's baseball history.
Alliance is Division I, by the way, so that
back in the
out.
day when, speaking of Milwaukee, when the Royals were playing Milwaukee, I don't remember what year it was, but some of their uniforms were stolen, and the Royals had to wear Brewers uniforms to the game because Royals
I
uniforms
remember
were
this.
cut.
I vaguely remember that.
So
somebody went into their clubhouse and heisted all their uniforms, which, I mean, A, who does that? B, how in the hell did you get into that facility through security?
It was a lot more lax back then.
Well, yeah, but you still had security. I mean, how the hell does that happen?
The inside job.
Well, and here's the other thing. I mean, I know why you would do that. I mean, there were some pretty good players back in the day on that team.
Brett.
You can sell that jersey and get a pretty nice coin for it. You don't have to do it immediately because you'd kind of be a dead giveaway if you did.
There's a guy. He had to be like 20 years old at PNC Park, and the usher was telling me this story. He comes to a lot of the home games, and he'll get the batting practice balls that are hitting the outfit or whatever, and then sell them on eBay. Like he remembers, okay, this ball was hit here, and then he'll nonchalantly just be walking around and pick this ball up, and this PNC usher was like, every day we go, hey, is this kid here? We better keep an eye on these balls and make sure we get them, because they like to give them out to the kids if they get the ushers get a ball or whatever.
How does this kid have access to the field?
I guess the season ticket holders get access to the home batting practice.
Well, that's got to shut down immediatly. I'm surprised I'm stunned that Nutting would allow that, because you know how he counts his coins. I'm stunned that he would do that.
It's smart, but it's diabolical.
I mean, not to mention the fact that if you get drilled with a ball...
Well, I don't think he's on the field. I think he's getting the ones that get...
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, they're free game.
Right.
I mean, you know...
But the ushers are like, every time he's there, the ushers are making sure they're okay, I'm getting this ball before because the ushers like to have the ball.
Well, yeah, you should
give out to kids.
You should probably grab as many of those balls as possible, and now again,
because like kids getting them to this guy that's getting them just to sell them online.
Well, now you're going to be bringing up something that pisses me off more than anything about the game of baseball, and that is the whole. And I've had to see this firsthand. The whole idea of memorabilia being bought, or memorabilia being in the process of being bought. I don't know how many times grown-ass men would be coming literally on, or not on our bus, but literally 2 inches from the bus with cards of the top prospects in hand saying, hey, can you sign this? Can you sign this? And I'm like, okay, A, that's weird. For a 30-some-year-old guy to have baseball cards where you're essentially looking to have this person sign it and then you're going to sell it, that's weird. And B, you're not a kid anymore. You're a grown adult. No.
These people take it seriously.
There was a guy that wanted one of our kids, and he never panned out in the major leagues, unfortunately. Jason DuBois, real big, 6'4", 6'5", just a quick bat, but he never got past AAA. But he was one of the Cubs' hot prospects back in the day. There was a guy that wanted him to sign a poster board, and our manager was like, "Hell no, you don't sign that." He goes, for all we know, that this guy could make a copy of your signature and put it on a bunch of stuff, putting your ass in debt for years to come. You don't do anything like that. That's absurd. I'm like, yeah, that's thinking. That's kind of a dark thought, but it's true. It is true.
Or to less dark, he could copy the autograph and put it on other stuff, memorabilia stuff, and say this was signed by such and such.
Did that too. Yeah, but oh god, that used to bother the hell out of me. I'd be looking around and I'm going, wait a second. First of all, don't go in front of a kid and bully your way into the front of the line because you have baseball cards because you want this guy to sell your cards, which 99% of them are going to be sold anyway. Go to the back of the line and wait your turn. The kids should always come first when it comes to autographs.
There was, I was in line to meet Eric Hosmer one summer in Kansas City. He was having like a, one of his promotions at a steakhouse in Kansas City, and you got there, 2 hours early, waiting in line, you get to shake his hand, sign an autograph, take a picture, whatever. And while I was in line, there was like 3 or 4 old men, they were like 50, 60, but they knew where the players came out of Kauffman Stadium, what each player drove. They knew where George Brett could be found during a baseball game.
Oh, God.
What George Brett drove. They knew where George Brett lived. And they were bragging about it, and I'm thinking, and then, after telling me all that, because I was in line here, they were in line here, so they were like it was a snake. So they were behind me in line, but kind of next to me. So after all that, then they had the audacity to tell me all that and tell me, yeah, but George Brett's a jerk. He always treats us like crap.
Gee, I wonder why.
Because you know where he parks his car.
You know where he parks his car, and I'm pretty sure you're probably the type of person that's going up and invading his private space. Oh, God.
Like they do that, they act like that, and then they expect the players and the Hall of Famers, whatever, to be okay with it. Like it's part of their job to make them happy outside of the ball fields at their personal car.
Yeah, here's a line. Here's a line, and here's the line that you just crossed.
I wanted to get him out. He doesn't deserve to meet Eric Hosmer.
Yeah, those are the type of people that I just want to just say you need to get away. You need to stop.
But it's because they sell those for so much money. They're set for. They don't have to work if they sell those because he was telling me he had every autograph on the baseball team, and then he had every autograph from like the 1980s. And he was like, we're in a culture where you sell those each for like $3,000 a pop on eBay. you're set for the year.
Yeah.
And you can go and follow the Royals across the country or whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Any autograph that I have ever collected, and I'll sell it. Why? I mean, it's an autograph that was
I want it.
given
That's why
to me,
I got it.
and I was going through my stuff on Sunday, throwing a lot of crap out, but just going through my stuff. There was a Cleveland Browns Hall of Fame wide receiver, Dante Lavelli. He was at a card show, and my father grew up as a huge Browns fan. It was not personalized to my father, but I gave him a copy, and I had one for myself. Dante Lavelli has passed away. Thing's worth, up in Cleveland, probably get a couple of $100 for it. I'm not going to do that. That's the thing that I got. Now I have a personalized autograph from Bob Feller. A picture of him in the 40s in an Indians uniform pitching, and to Ron, best regards, Bob Feller. I'm not going to give that up. It's a Hall of Fame pitcher. He's passed away. I'm not going to give that up. Somewhere when I was a kid, Gale Sayers, who recently passed away, was in Salem for a Fellowship of Christian Athletes kind of a thing. Gale Sayers, I have his autograph from many years ago. I'm not giving that up.
Right.
I mean, no. I mean, it's stuff. It's not for me to sell. It was for me of. Oh, I remember this night. This was a pretty cool moment.
I got that autograph because I wanted it, not because I wanted to go sell it. It's just my mind doesn't work like that, and I struggle to understand people that do.
Well, the thing that bothers me where you step across the line is when you start bullying your way through kids who have no intentions or not the intentions that you have, where they just want the guy's autograph because they might, I don't want to say worship because that's a bad word in this context, but they might look up to this person where all you're doing is you're interested in making money off of this. That's, to me, and kids always come first with autographs.
Most of the players get that. Like I saw, who's the Pirates closer yesterday? Rodriguez? I want to say Rodriguez.
I think so.
He's a really good closer so far this season. He was signing autographs in between innings or something. And this kid came up, asked him for an autograph, and the kid didn't have a pen. But Rodriguez went over to some other part of and he said, "Hey, do you have a pen?" And he got a pen from someone else in the crowd, signed the ball for the kid, and threw it back to him.
There you go.
I mean, that's one of the things that, he didn't have to go out of his way. He could have said, "Hey, you don't have a pen. Sorry about your luck." The players that kind of understand the kids, deserve that kind of moment and interact with that moment. That's what it's about.
No, it is, and it just, it's weird when you see people do the whole.
And there's a kid sitting right in front of the Royals on deck circle, and every time a foul ball got skipped, he'd pick up the ball. That kid must have got 6 balls from a Royals guy just picking it up and throwing it to him.
I'm surprised that you didn't get a ball last night. You were in Royals gear.
Yeah, but I wasn't close enough where I think the Royals could, one, they'd have to throw it over the net. I wasn't in the chair, and I hate to say it, but the chair would have gotten me a ball like this.
Ah, okay. All right.
It wasn't handicap accessible seating.
Okay.
Per se. So
we'll get into that part of the review in a little bit as well. You have some positive and negatives about PNC.
No. Yeah. Well, you want to do the review?
Well, no.
Take a break?
We'll get into the review in a little bit because it's interesting because we do have we do have a Thursday where we're not going to be seeing any baseball. We're not going to be seeing any softball. Our games are pretty much going to be shut down because it's going to rain all day. So we do have we've gotten our baseball and softball in, and we do have news in terms of South Range naming their new basketball coach. We can
I didn't see
talk
that.
a little bit about that.
Who'd we get?
Will Klusnick.
Will
Klusnick is going to be the
cool. He's been the assistant for a while.
The new basketball coach at South Range, and he's a good guy.
I'm happy about that. He's a good dude.
Yeah, and he will be a really really good.
Pending board approval, I'm assuming.
I'm assuming that is the case, but
awesome.
that's that's a good. That's a solid hire for
and you know
for
what?
South Range.
He was on the staff, so he knows who they got, and he might keep a lot of those assistants because they have a young guy who played for them a couple years ago named Brady White, who's been doing a good job with just the bench and some of the players. I think he's a coach in the making, and I hope he keeps him on board. And Irons is a great JV and varsity assistant, so maybe he'll keep him on board as well. So. Hoping that's a great move from South Range.
Yeah, and it'll be it's not going to be much of a difference,
right?
With John Cullen being out,
you don't have to instill a brand new culture or a brand new philosophy. You know, it's maybe a little tweaks here and there, but mostly it's going to be the same thing.
Yeah, so that is definitely a good shot in the arm for the South Range program, and that will be. That will certainly be a moment for them to, continue moving forward with their program, which John Cullen did a real nice job with the program. Got it in an area where now South Range is in a better place.
He got it a Canton Central South. No. That's right? Canton Central Catholic. He got a couple of teams, Canton Central Catholic, away from winning a district. So,
yeah, that's much like Poland's arch rival in basketball was Akron St. Vincent St. Mary. South Range is Canton Central Catholic.
Right.
It is what it is. All right, 330-886-0813. We're back in a bit. It is a Thursday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, we go the extra mile for you.
By finding you the right vehicle at the right price.
By giving you confidence in your vehicle with a Greenwood Advantage warranty.
By guaranteeing you financing,
regardless of your situation or credit history.
And by being with you for every mile of your journey.
Now, we're going the extra mile for you with an additional $1,500 on your trade, plus the best selection of new and used vehicles in the area.
Visit greenwoodchevrolet.com and tell us how we can go the extra mile for you.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
Jimmy Sudman here, Director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and 2 of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Breaking news, the Cleveland Browns have their first transaction of the day. No, it's not a player. Andrew Berry and his wife just had their 3rd child this morning. So,
what's the transaction about that? Because you don't have to give anything. You just get it.
Well,
you get a child, you know?
Yeah, and I don't think there's any future considerations involved in that. They didn't trade a pick or anything like that. But yeah, how about that? Kids born on draft day.
Right.
As if Andrew Berry had enough on his plate.
You should have had. That's the first round draft pick right there.
Yeah, there you go. There's your first round draft pick,
Best
Browns
first round
fans.
draft pick you'll ever have.
And I think that hopefully Andrew Berry has your mind where he's like, well, this is the best draft pick I've ever had. There you go.
And then when he's a teenager, he's going to be like, this was a bust.
Well, it was Eden Ruth Berry. So, this kid can't play sports. Get out of here.
Okay.
Oh, God. So, congratulations to Andrew Berry and his wife, third child born this morning, Eden Ruth Berry. Mom, Dad, and young Eden reportedly doing very well.
It's a very unique name.
Yeah. So, the Garden of Eden. All righty. So, congratulations to Andrew Berry and his spouse on the birth of their third child, and now he has nothing on his mind. Mother and baby are doing fine. Now you can get back to,
Right.
Oh, by the way, no pressure on you, but give us our linebacker defensive help and whatever to give us a championship. I'm speaking as a Browns fan. So no pressure on him whatsoever. But he's already, I would assume, by most everyone, based upon what the Browns have done, I would say he's in a lot better shape than most of the regimes that did not have his kind of year last year. So
it's off to a good start.
Yeah, I think his job security is pretty safe, even if the Browns don't live up to expectations this year.
Yeah, he's sitting there like, God, they can't fire me after last year. I'm just throwing darts at a board. Okay, let's pick that guy.
Yeah.
You look like a good candidate. Can you want to come play for the Browns? They're not going to fire me. Come on.
Yeah. Sir, you don't know Jimmy Haslam very well. Keep doing what you're doing, sir. Oh, Lordy. All right. Since we are on thinking draft, do we go through our draft, or do you want to? You know what? It is a good lead up to.
Right.
So we probably should do this.
Now, are we doing what we did last year, where we say winner of the top 10 wears the loser's team's baseball hat for the day?
I'm good with that. Yeah, I'm.
And we'll do. We'll pick a position, and if like last year we're tied after 10, let's say like the next wide receiver. So I don't know. Well, no. You know what? We'll just do 10. If it's tied, we'll just be like, hey, we're tied. We're not gonna mess around with.
And I think that the first two is kind of like the equivalent of signing your name on the ACT test,
Right.
where you're going to get a couple of
get
points.
some points.
Yeah.
Although you never know who that second quarterback is gonna, because teams can be kind of finicky.
Well, it is the New York Jets, so I'm not really confident in this second quarterback being taken, but I'll go with the flow. All right,
so,
Jacksonville.
Do we have it's Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, I mean, let's put it this way: if Urban Meyer doesn't take Trevor Lawrence, it will be one of the greatest shocks in the history of the National Football League draft. And more importantly, I would like to see the look on Mel Kiper's face if that doesn't happen, just to see him. This sounds horrible because you don't want to see anybody do this, but just to see him lose his marbles on the air, or just have his face so beat red where it's
he just lashes out on. This is the worst franchise I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, where
you'll always be a dumpster fire.
Yeah, the classic back and forth he and the Baltimore Colts had. This is why the Colts are the Colts. Who the hell is this Mel Kiper guy? You go back to your basement where you belong. I'm like, oh, give me some popcorn. Let's go here. Continue. All right, so Lawrence, number one, Jacksonville, they get their quarterback. Whether or not he's going to be the guy, honestly, I don't think he will be, but neither here nor there. I think he'll be nice. I don't think he's going to be.
How about that? I mean, not only are you going to the worst team in football, but you're also going to a brand new head coach
who's in all likelihood going to be a big-time bust in the NFL.
We just don't know. I mean, that's a tough spot to be put in as a first-round quarterback draft pick.
And, unfortunately, if you don't have pieces in front of you, you can really die a quick death. Ask Sam Darnold and ask...
He's got some new life.
Ask Mr. Couch in Cleveland.
Definitely ask Mr. Couch.
And a bunch of other quarterbacks.
Ryan Leaf.
He
had some mental problems.
I think Ryan Leaf had some other problems off the field, kind of like Art Schleister. 5-2 chance that guy was going to be going to jail soon. All right. The New York Jets, the number 2 pick. This is where
Zach Wilson, BYU.
I've got him written down, but put a star next to this because they are the New York Jets after all. They might just surprise the hell out of everyone and throw the ultimate curveball.
Your pick.
I'm picking Wilson, but I wouldn't be surprised because they're the Jets. They're an inept organization, and they do things very weird-like. So, they're number 2. Number 3, San Francisco.
Mac Jones, Alabama.
That's where I'm going to. There were talks of Justin Fields. There were talks of Trey Lance, and now all that stuff got shot down pretty quickly. There's no question that Mac Jones...
I saw an interview with Kyle Shanahan with NFL Network a week ago or whatever, and that just made me... Some of the things he said made me feel like they were leaning heavily towards Mac Jones. So I feel like that's confident too.
And I think that Shanahan, this is the ultimate quarterback for him. The guy completed 70% of his passes last year.
As much as I think Fields fits into his system, like I've said before, he loves the read option, and Fields is a read option quarterback, and he was the offensive coordinator for Kaepernick, who got so much success there because he knows how to run that style of offense. I just feel like Mac Jones is more NFL ready, and he wants someone that's NFL ready. So Mac Jones, number 3 to the 49ers.
Yep, I got Mac Jones to the 49ers as well. This one might be a little bit different. I'll be curious to hear what you have to say. Does Atlanta keep the 4th pick?
I have Ryan Pitts to Atlanta from Florida.
Oh, well, it's Kyle Pitts.
Sorry.
That's all right.
My R looked like my K looked like an R. So I was like, R-Y, it's got to be Ryan, right?
Well, make sure that when you put a K in the scoreboard or scorebook for baseball, it doesn't look like an R.
Hey, that's a run scores. What?
Wait a second here. I thought he struck out. Oh, wait a second. That is a K. Kind of looks like an R, but all right. No, we're on the same wavelength. I thought this would be a place, perhaps somebody jumps up and says, "Hey, the 4th quarterback, Fields is out there, Lance is out there." But I just don't think New England wants to give up what it would take for them to give up.
Right.
And I don't think that people are going to do this because, well, Atlanta doesn't need a quarterback. Neither does Cincinnati, and neither does Miami. Detroit might, but they got Jared Goff. Carolina might, but they got Sam Darnold. Denver's probably your next trip at number 9. Do they go up 4 spots? Probably not, when there's a really good chance they may be able to get their guy. And if they don't get their guy, they get the other guy.
The Broncos might flip in front of Carolina and make a trade with Detroit to go in the 7th spot.
They could. They could. I got everyone staying put for now.
Yeah, and I think
I have Kyle Pitts from Florida.
I think last year we just said, hey, let's just do straight up picks.
Yeah.
If they're traded and they don't, then that doesn't count. But
yeah. And here's the other thing. For all we know, the Julio Jones thing might just be a big old smokescreen.
Right.
Because if you think about it, Kyle Pitts on a rookie contract, you don't have to give him all that much money. And, oh, by the way, you get the best receiver in football. And now you've got a once-in-a-generational talent at tight end. If you're Matt Ryan, you're pretty happy with that. So I'll go Pitts with the 4th pick. All right, Cincinnati is up next.
I have them taking Chase out of LSU. Jamar Chase.
Okay, this is where you and I are gonna disagree.
I think the Bengals think, and this is their mindset, that the wide receiver is a lot less deep in this draft than the offensive lineman. And they're thinking, we can get offensive linemen later in the draft. Let's get a weapon while we can, because receivers aren't very plentiful in this draft. So they're going to get there LSU guy that has chemistry with Burrow, and they're gonna square that away. So Cincinnati gets chased out of LSU.
And that would be my selection, but I maybe I'm going to be wrong on this, and Lord knows the Bengals are a misguided organization as well. But looking at your franchise quarterback getting carted off the field because he had gotten destroyed all year long, and finally blew his knee out because your offensive line is grade A poo-poo. You really need to have somebody to protect his blind side. And the guy that I think is the best tackle coming out of college since Joe Thomas is Penei Sewell from Oregon. This screams Cincinnati, but Cincinnati's hard of hearing, so maybe this doesn't come about. But I got Sewell from Oregon.
Sewell from Oregon.
Yeah, just for the sake and for the life of Joe Burrow, for the love of God, please pick Sewell.
Hey, that officially means that one of us is going to win because not all of our picks are the same.
Well, and we could both be wrong on this too, because the guy from Alabama that I got going to Miami is pretty damn good.
Well, see, I have the Dolphins getting Devontae Adams, so we're the same on that from Alabama. So,
well, I did Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm thinking Devontae Adams.
Well, there's another kid in Alabama that's really good that I was just like, all right, which wide receiver do we take? Because both of these guys are they're pretty good. Devontae Smith is good, and so is Jalen Waddle. So
waddle.
I don't know. I mean, where do we go here?
Dolphins don't waddle.
No. I'm just hopeful that Atlanta does take Kyle Pitts, because if they don't, Kyle Pitts goes to Miami, and it's going to be Rob Gronkowski all over again, and I don't want to see that. I just don't want to see that. So we're both in agreement with Devontae Smith.
Right.
All right, so this has been anticlimactic right now.
Maybe this will get choppy 7 through 10. 7 for the Lions.
Detroit.
I have Sewell going to Detroit.
Okay.
From Oregon.
Okay, because you had Sewell dropping, and that's a great get. If Detroit were to get him at 7, I think they would be dancing up a storm. But I think Detroit needs some defense, and what better guy to get than a linebacker? I got him taking Micah Parsons from Penn State.
Okay.
Which he's big time, and Detroit needs some big time players. So I'm going to go Micah Parsons with the 7th pick overall. Carolina's an interesting selection because do you go quarterback, and then if you do, why the hell did you get Sam Darnold? Do you give Darnold some weapons? Do you give Darnold an offensive line? Or do you just crumple all that crap up and say, I'm going to take a defensive player?
There's exactly what I'm doing.
There's a lot of directions to go here.
Because Carolina needs the secondary, and I have Carolina taking Patrick Surtain Jr. out of Alabama.
That's actually an out-of-the-box great idea, and I would be all on board with that, except I also think, based on the fact that Sam Darnold is your new guy, you probably need to get him some line help or whatever. And Rashawn Slater, the guard out of Northwestern, is a really good offensive lineman that would work for Carolina. Now, having said that, both of us could be wrong because, well, the wide receiver out of LSU is still available. And that wouldn't be a bad selection either.
I have Chase going to.
Okay, I don't have Chase
Bengals.
going. I don't have Chase going anywhere. So that you could go that direction as well. We could both be wrong on this. That's an interesting little dilemma. Denver is an interesting dilemma too. They just picked up Teddy Bridgewater. Do they go with a quarterback, or do they go with a defensive back or wide receiver? Who do you got at number 9, Anthony?
I have the Broncos picking up Trey Lance, North Dakota State.
This is where I wanted Trey Lance to go, but then I was like, they got Teddy Bridgewater, and I don't know if they really closed the book on the quarterback that they just picked?
I mean, I've been hearing too much smoke. Where there's smoke, there's fire, and I feel like Denver still wants a quarterback for whatever reason. I don't know why. I don't know what the reasoning is, but they still want a quarterback, so I can't ignore it.
But I went the opposite end. Denver is in need of DBs, and, well, let's be honest, when you're in the same division as Patrick Mahomes and that high-powered offense, you need a DB. And I think the best defensive back in this draft comes from South Carolina. His name is J.C. Horn, and he is plenty good. So I got J.C. Horn going to Denver.
I have J.C. Horn going next to Dallas.
And that's where I have Patrick Surtain II going to Dallas, and Jerry Jones does the happy dance because he loves Patrick Surtain. So there you go. We have enough where
one of us is going to win, or we're both in a tank. Like
I mean, what we need to do is call the young draft guru.
Nuggies.
But I mean, is he in school or
he's probably in school?
Well, get his ass out of fifth period home ec or wherever, This is the YSN hotline.
Michael McKenzie, please come to the office. You're needed to make draft picks. Ooh, and then he gets up. Ooh.
Good afternoon, Beaver Local High School. Yeah, we need McKenzie to get out of his classroom. We're live on the on Running Point, and we need him to come over and do his picks.
You hear Ron over the intercom. Mike McKenzie, who do you have going second? Zach Wilson. That's exactly what I have. Good job, Mike McKenzie. Okay, thank you.
Could we embarrass the hell out of this kid?
No.
Could you imagine? What time are we looking at? We're about 1:30, so we're figuring about sixth period, almost over, but about an hour or so away from from class being done.
It'd be a great tease because Mike McKenzie will be in the draft party tonight. So, draft party on ysnlive.com. Mike McKenzie will be there, and he'll bring some real knowledge to our lack of knowledge.
Well, hey, speak for yourself. I mean, I think I got a really good top 10 here.
Last year, we both sucked, okay? So we have to go off the evidence.
Honestly, I think we're going to both be in pretty decent shape this year.
I hope so. I hope we redeem ourselves a little bit.
Yeah, I think we're going to redeem ourselves.
The only evidence we have right now is last year. And last year, we went down to, all right, let's just pick a wide receiver in the 10 through 20.
Last year was tough.
Whoever gets picked first, it's who wins.
I think Oakland... Oakland/Las Vegas determined the winner.
They screwed me like Raiders always do.
Well, you expected different? No wonder why you hate the Raiders.
They picked out Ruggs instead of Judy. I had Judy. I said, okay. It basically was whoever goes first, Ruggs or Judy, that wins. I picked Judy, you picked Ruggs. And
yeah, there you go.
Oakland was like, it didn't work out to you, did it? No, you still sucked.
It's okay. You won your division. You went to the Super Bowl. It's okay. You
like my draft, Mahomes jersey?
I see that.
The college for draft day.
I see that. Yeah, that's
So to recap, we have the first three exactly the same: Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones. 3 equal, right?
3 is equal.
4, I have.
Well, actually, the top 4 is equal because you have Pitts, so do I.
You have Pitts.
So the top 4 is equal.
5, I have Chase. You have.
I have Penny Sewell.
6, I have Devontae Smith.
You have Devontae Smith.
Okay. 7, I have Sewell going to.
Yeah, and
Detroit.
I have Micah Parsons, the linebacker from Penn State. So we're going to be different 7 through 10.
Yeah, 8, I have Patrick Surtain II.
Yeah, I have Rashawn Slater from Northwestern going 8.
9, I have Trey Lance.
And I got J.C. Horn.
And then I have J.C. Horn. 10.
And I have Patrick Surtain.
All right.
So 7 through 10 were different, and 5 were different. 1 through 4 and 6 were the same. So 5 the same, 5 different. This should be fun. Hopefully we'll at least be 5 of 10.
Last year we were 3 for 10, and it was the first 3. That's what we got.
Well, that is true.
We were equal.
That is true. We were. I don't know about you. We were actually having a really good time with this. Going, yeah, See, we're pretty good.
Yeah,
we know what we're doing here.
Any schlub can pick the first straight picks of the draft.
Yeah, and then things went downhill rather, yowza. That went downhill pretty quickly. So, it is what it is. All right, well, those are our first 10 selections, and yeah, the YSN party will be, that'll be fun. Kansas City does not have a first-round draft pick now.
They got Orlando Brown.
Which I'm still, Baltimore. What are you doing?
What you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? And I may have to stay up until 11:30 just to hear that Buffalo trades out of the first round, because it would appear that they're going to, especially if their guys are not on the board, which probably won't be. And
Were
Cleveland,
they at 29?
they're at 30.
30.
Yeah, Cleveland is at 26, and I know there's a lot of Browns fans that would love to see Owusu Koramoah from Notre Dame, but he's going to be long gone. I can't imagine he's at 26.
Does Pittsburgh have the first round pick?
They're at 24, and honest to God, I really think Liam Eichenberg would be a great pick for the Steelers in the first round. And it's not a sexy pick, but again, Pittsburgh doesn't do sexy picks. They're smart. They remind me of one of the smart kids in the classroom that just does their job.
Like, the thing that Pittsburgh has been talked about again and again last year, and the last 2 years really. No run game. Do they go for a running back?
Yeah, but they don't have a running game because they didn't have an offensive line that blew out holes for their running game.
So you think the running backs are okay? It's their line.
I think you can get a nice running back in the third or fourth round.
Because you got to think Najee Harris will be there at 24, and when Najee.
Well, I mean, there's two sides of the coin on this. Do you go with the stud offensive lineman and the not top tier but pretty good running back? Or do you go with the stud running back and the not top tier but okay offensive line?
This is why I had the Bengals getting a wide receiver. The draft is pretty deep in offensive line. So you can pick up some quality offensive linemen later in the draft if you're Pittsburgh and get the Najee Harris. If you make a little hole for him, he will do a lot for you type running back.
The guy I would really be interested in if they decide to go Najee Harris, the guy I would be really interested in the second round is Mayfield out of Michigan at tackle. He's a Steeler type of player, real smart. Well, he's a Michigan kid.
Can't be that smart.
That's the only thing you can say good about Michigan. You have to be pretty damn smart to go to Michigan. Unless, of course, you're on a full ride scholarship, but neither here nor there.
He was a Rhodes Scholar.
He didn't go to any Rose Bowls and hasn't beaten Ohio State in 10 years. Najee Harris, Etienne from Clemson. Giovanni Williams is pretty special, too.
Najee Harris just screams Pittsburgh, though, because he's big, he's brutish, he's
kind of a miniature version of Jerome Bettis.
It's just like...
Yeah. He might be taller, but not bigger. Bettis wasn't 6'2". I don't think he was, but Harris is 230. Bettis was like 260.
Right.
Some other guys, can you hang around and get Hubbard from Oklahoma State? Michael Carter from North Carolina. Can you get the kid from Buffalo? Not the Bills, the Mid-American Conference
school.
No
one wants Devontae Singletary, whatever his name. What's his first name?
No,
no one wants him anymore.
Well, Trey Sermon from Ohio State would be a nice get, and that's a guy you could probably get in the third or fourth round. So if you put your sights on him and then go out and get a Eichenberg or someone of that nature.
Didn't Clemson have another running back below Etienne that they traded? They're both seniors, or was he not a senior? I know they had two. I just can't remember if he was.
I can't remember if he was a senior or not.
Right.
I want to say he wasn't.
His name's gone, like out of my mind.
Yeah, I want to say that he wasn't, but then again, I don't know. This
is how knowledgeable we are.
There's a couple of.
McNuggets has a whole notebook for like the 6th round of the draft, and we're like, "What's this kid's name?"
That's interesting. That I'm wondering if this has sacrificed his schoolwork. I mean, hey, Nuggies, your grade point average is slipping a little bit. What the hell have you been doing?
Draft picks are locked in.
Draft picks are locked in, man. I'm 30 of 32. I don't need no stinking grade point average. I'm headed to take Kuiper's position. Okay, can't argue with that.
Forget Kuiper's position. Get hired as a draft specialist for one of these teams.
Hey, there you go. I got no problems with that. That would be fun. Can you imagine? What's your job title? I pick kids in the.
I'm a draft specialist for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I pick kids for a living in the NFL draft. Oh. What's your background? Well,
I worked for YSN for a couple of years,
and I never played football, but I've studied the game and broadcast football, and there you go. Okay.
I have a notebook.
I have a notebook filled with things. I have a special set of skills.
I have a special.
If you let the guy go, now.
Skills to make me a problem for people like you. Now, if you draft Patrick Surtain the second now, that'll be the end of it. But if you don't, I will find you.
And we will kill you. Oh, God, we got to go to a break now. Yeah, that's... There's your culture reference for the day.
There's a stage director off to the left that's going.
Wait a second. Where the hell did this show go?
Break. Come on, we need it bad.
330-886-0813. We're back in a bit. Stick around. More to come.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Ruud gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy efficient expert, MP Vivo, today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Ruud, and so should you.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Rain will come and go tomorrow. There'll be some dry intervals.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
$60 years ago, Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods began with 3 siblings, a hand-set sawmill, and a few local orders. And while business has certainly changed over the years, what has not are our principles of hard work, craftsmanship, and commitment to quality. At Baird Brothers, we're proud to put our name on the products we create, from moldings and doors to flooring and lumber. Thank you for 60 great years. We look forward to 60 more. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Bad credit, no problem. I can get you approved for a low-interest loan and maybe even a low-payment lease on a new car at the #1 Chevy dealership in Trumbull County for 3 years in a row. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved or come see me, Tony Page, to get a new vehicle today. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Point. Just a reminder, coming up at 2:15 this afternoon, we will hear from the head softball coach of the Lisbon Blue Devils, Dave Chrisman. At 2:40, we will hear from Jackson Milton softball coach Mariah Ciccolelli.
And I'm excited to talk to Dave Chrisman and kind of reminisce on his career earlier this season. I think on Saturday, he got his 300th career win, so that's why we're talking to him. And it'll be fun to kind of. He's had a long career, both softball and basketball, but these are just softball wins. And, Lisbon's looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, Lisbon is, other than Columbiana, they're one of the better teams in the EOAC for sure.
They split with Columbiana.
Indeed, they did.
We'll have some fun with Chrisman, and then we'll have our first chat of the season with Coach Ciccolelli.
Ciccolelli. Yeah, Ciccolelli.
Ooh.
Gotta get your.
I'm glad that you're the one that has to say the name.
Gotta get your Italian going here. Yeah, Ciccolelli.
Ciccolelli.
Yeah. The Italia non sto bene. Non sto bene.
The only Italian Antonio. The only Italian I know are the lyrics from the prayer. So.
Okay. All right, we gotta get your review before we start talking softball. We gotta get your review. Anthony Hardwig last night attended the game in Pittsburgh at the beautiful PNC Park, where the Kansas City Royals upended the Pittsburgh Pirates 9-6. Royals still with the best record in baseball, and we are 2 days away from ending the month of April. I don't know what alternate universe this is.
We're just living in it.
We're just living in it, unfortunately.
Fortunately.
So, Anthony, you spent some time at the gorgeous facility known as PNC Park.
The seats I had were incredible. Pretty much first row of the bottom level behind home plate. I mean, not the rich seats behind home plate with the leather backs and not those, but the first level after that, and there's like 10 rows of those seats. First level after that, first row right behind home plate, towards the Royals side a little bit, amazing. As far as the aesthetics and the look of the field, best. Like I'm a Royals fan. It looks better than Kauffman Stadium. I'll say it. Especially day games. I feel like a day game when the sun's out, oh my gosh, like the skyline is clear and the bridge and oh my gosh. I feel like a night game at Kauffman Stadium, it might look a little bit better because they got the bar lights and they have the big crown vision and they have the fountains lighting up and it looks a lot better in the night.
The lit up fountains are the coup de grace on that one.
So I will say maybe a night game might look better at Kauffman Stadium because the skyline's not really lit up. At least it wasn't last night in Pittsburgh. I mean, there were some lights out there, but it wasn't like the skyline for Atlanta per se.
Okay.
But a day like when the sun was out, oh my gosh, there's nothing better than looking out and seeing the skyscrapers and the bridge and even the inside the stadium, the Pirates bush in the center field and the big square. It's incredible. No bad. I was looking around. And I was like, "There's nowhere in this stadium I wouldn't want to sit to watch a game." Except maybe, no matter what seat, I would never want to sit in the corner of the upper deck. That would freak me out.
That's a Bob Uecker moment.
There are seats in the corner, and I'm like, who would want to sit there? Because you're on the edge this way, you're on the edge this way. One little false move, you're falling off. I would be freaked out.
Yeah, that screams Bob Uecker in the old Miller Lite commercials. I'm in the front row.
I'm in the front. As far as the experience I had with guest services or whatever you want, the hosts and the people, oh my gosh, bent over backwards to make sure I got into the seat that the ticket was, because the deal was, like, I was in section 114 row A. The handicap accessible seats are all the way up that level in like AA. So they're at the top of the level. And I was sitting there, we found this section, and I looked at those seats, and I turned to my mom and I said, those are once-in-a-lifetime seats. We got to find a way down there. and the Pirates, we went to guest services, and their people escorted me through the home plate club, which was this like exclusive VIP restaurant that I felt bad just wheeling in there with my wheelchair because I'm like, these beautiful wood floors are getting scuffed. I bet there was someone following me with a little waxer.
And I can just picture this. What the hell's this kid on the wheelchair?
It was funny because like the people that were escorting us, like we went through like 3 checkpoints. They had to be like, we're escorting them. It's all good. We're escorting them. It's all good. Like it was serious pristine spot that we went through because no one that shouldn't be there was going to get in there.
Yeah.
Because there were like 3 or 4 different security checkpoints that we had to go through to get to that home plate club restaurant / VIP area. So we go out there, and instead of going down all those steps from the top of the row, I went up like 4 steps to my seat. And they just put the wheelchair over there. They were great. The guest services was great. Game was great. The way that the Pirates presented the game, their in-between inning stuff, the hosting was great. Their little games were pretty much standard to all that. You know, they have the not the hot dog. It's the pierogi race at PNC instead of the hot dog. So all of that's pretty much standard. The only thing that I would say is a lot better at Kauffman Stadium is the parking and the fact that Kauffman Stadium's not downtown, so it's really easy to get in and out of. You know, it shares a parking lot with Arrowhead, so you're really just park and go. There's no finding a parking garage and getting out of the city of Pittsburgh, especially getting out. I feel like getting in is a little easy. Getting out is like, oh my gosh, where am I going? 279's closed. Now where do I go?
You got to have a PhD to get out of that city.
I will say, looks-wise, I would put PNC at Park above Kauffman Stadium. Experience-wise, but maybe this is because I've had more time in Kauffman Stadium. You know, I've been there several times, and I've had the chance to really explore it. I would give the edge to Kauffman. I mean, you can walk through their Hall of Fame before the game. They have the fountains that you can sit in front of on a really humid Kansas City day and get misted if you have those seats. They have the 1/4 scale like little kid baseball field that you can put your kids on to kind of keep them entertained.
That's cool. Game. That's cool.
And the concourse goes all the way around the stadium. So I'm sure they close it off during COVID because they don't want just people walking around. But in a non-COVID world, you can just kind of stroll around the whole ballpark and just kind of, you know, hey, it's a lull. There's not much going on. I'm just going to take a stroll around the ballpark and come back to my seat, you know. So I just feel like experience-wise, Kauffman Stadium may be a little bit above. But as far as when you're looking out into that outfield and you, especially once you get daytime, PNC, it's above it for sure.
Okay.
Nighttime, maybe Kauffman. Because, like I said, the lit-up fountains and the crown vision is all lit up. You give and you take. So.
Yeah. See, I love Progressive Field, but it doesn't compare to PNC.
There's nothing that... Like, what... Progressive Field, when I look at it, I'm like, it's nice, this is cool, but there's no, like, identifying factors of Progressive Field.
Yeah, the bleachers and the big giant scoreboard behind the bleachers.
Now it feels like everyone has a big scoreboard.
Yeah, exactly. The bar down the right field line, which you get hammered, which is now double take, where somebody hammers the ball and you getting hammered is now brings a whole new meaning to that phrase.
And there's a little bit of Cleveland in the backdrop of Progressive.
Yeah.
But the backdrop of Pittsburgh,
it's far better.
It's far better.
Yeah, it's far better. I mean, Cleveland is a nice stadium, and I think for Indians fans that grew up in my era that remember going to the dilapidated dump, anything is better than Cleveland Municipal Stadium. Municipal Stadium in a baseball game, because you're too far away from the action.
The other thing about PNC, your front row seats, and the usher was telling me this, so I can't confirm, but he was saying that it's the closest front row in proximity to the game in Major League Baseball.
That wouldn't surprise me.
So I mean, you're there, and you could see really everything.
Yeah, it's a beautiful ballpark. It is. It's the one negative with PNC is, and it's not their fault. It's Pittsburgh is a terrible city to get out of.
Right.
It just, if you're not familiar with the city of Pittsburgh, it is a nightmare to get out of that city.
The thing I like about Progressive is when you walk into when you walk into the gates, you will automatically see the field, and it's this like moment of walking into the gates into a baseball field. Progressive, well, I mean, with PNC, at least for me, you had to walk through doors, you go up an elevator, and then you get off, and you have to like take a right before you get into the field level. So it's not that moment where you walk through the gates and you're like, oh, I'm at for
Yeah. So you have to hold off on that moment,
right.
But it's worth it looking at the skyline. But yeah, it's a top 2 stadium.
The other thing PNC has going for it, for me, the handicap accessible seats are undercovered. So if it was raining, I'd be like, I'm golden, you're not, and all you walking people can suck it.
Oh, Lordy.
No, PNC, it was a great place, and I was blown away by the biggest thing I was blown away by was the guest services and the people that are working there. And there are people I was talking to that have been working there for 80 years. This is ushers, and it's this.
Yeah.
And then the one host that was a part of my section said that he'd been going there since a kid, and now he works there. So it's like this whole family, and he knew that, like, he called the one usher grandpa, even though it wasn't it wasn't his grandpa, clearly. But he's like, that guy's, I've known him for my whole life, because I sat in that section as a kid with season tickets. So it was cool. It was cool.
Yeah, Pittsburgh is. It's such a damn shame that the organization, not the organization per se, more the owner, just didn't have or take advantage of the 3-year window that the Pirates had, and now they're back to square one. And now, okay, they completely tore everything down, traded away their best talent, got their farm system backed up to snuff, hired a new farm director, where I think their draft and I think their minor league system is going to be in much, much better hands now. And you know, they're 500 right now, which is absolutely incredible that they're at 500. Do I expect them to be 500 the rest of the year? No, because their talent level is not as good. But I do think as long as Bob Nutting doesn't screw this up, Pittsburgh has a chance in the next 2 or 3 years to really get back to where they were earlier, 5-6 years ago, where they had their window. And hopefully this time Nutting doesn't screw it up. Because, man, that city, the people, even though it's technically, based on attendance, not a, quote, great baseball town based on their attendance, it is a baseball town. People love their baseball in Pittsburgh.
Their attendance is good considering the fact that their team
exactly,
isn't.
and I think that's one of the reasons why the Pittsburgh has always been one of those towns that they love baseball. They just do. It's just they haven't had an opportunity very often to go out and support a really, really good product. And they got a great stadium. But I'm with you on one thing. Everything about that stadium is phenomenal, except why didn't you have a big area for the parking?
It's hard when you're downtown.
Yeah, that was, and that may be nitpicking because the Indians are in the same direction. Although they got a parking garage next door that they share with the Cavaliers, which pretty much concede everyone, especially Indian fans that don't show up for their games. They can pretty much put everyone in that parking lot. And there's other areas close to the ballpark where you can walk, and it's not that big of a pain to get out of Cleveland.
The MLB has a new bag policy for COVID where you can only have a bag that's either a diaper bag, a medical bag, or a 5x8x1, like a little purse. That's all you can bring in. And if it doesn't meet that criteria, you're not allowed. It won't be. And they were really sticky with it. And you would be like, they need to do a better job letting the public know this is our bag policy, because it was hard to find on the. But you had to really dig a little bit. I mean, I found it, but it was like Mom was like, what bag can I bring in? I was like, okay, 5 by 8 by 1. And then we got there. And my mom's little purse, it was 5 by 8, but they got her because it wasn't 1 inch thin. Like, that's too big right there. It's too thick.
Wow.
And so we had to walk all the way back to the car.
Okay.
Mom wasn't too thrilled about that.
No.
Especially when we saw people in the stands, and she's like, that girl's bag is like twice the size as mine. And I said, Mom, that girl's 20 years old. How do you think she got in?
There you go.
Sorry about it. I mean, this is kind of the way the world works sometimes. And
there you go.
They found a gate attendant that didn't really care about his job as much as, like, the guy that we went took it very seriously. And you have a whole baseball field of gates. I'm sure there's going to be younger guys or guys that are just like, yeah, that bag's good. I looked in it. It's good. Get in here, But the gate that we went in, the guy was like, I'm going to have to call my supervisor. And the supervisor came and was like, that's too big, that's too big. And the lady in front of us was like livid. Like, she had a big bag. And she was like, can I just give it to Judy? And I'm like, how are these guys know who Judy is? She's like rattling off names. Like, these guys are supposed to know. Like, she must have known people in the park that work for the Pirates or something. And it's like, yeah, these guys know exactly who Nancy is, miss. Can I just give it to Nancy?
Can I give this purse over here to Nancy or Judy?
And then she's like, well, I didn't drive here. She worked, lived in an apartment in downtown, I guess. I didn't drive here. I walked. I can't. Well, you have to walk back to your apartment because we don't hold bags. Oh, my God, this is so terrible. Well, honey, if you don't want it, you can just walk back home. Sorry about your luck. Look at your bag policy next time.
Look at your bag policy, you bag.
So, yeah, I mean,
Lordy.
other than having to that little hiccup of having to walk back and put the bag back, and then I was like, just take the bag off my wheelchair because the guy we got might just be like, even though it's a wheelchair bag and all the stadiums are like whatever, it's on the back of the wheelchair. I was like, just take it off because we are not making this trip back to the car for a second time.
No, definitely not.
So we did, and
how many people were wearing masks while you were watching the game?
It was funny, you looked to your left, and there was like no mask, no mask, no mask. And then you look to your right, and it's like, those people are in masks, those people are in masks. It was just a mixed thing. Like, some people were taking it seriously. Some people weren't. Some ushers in sections were like, if they saw someone without their mask, they'd walk up to the mask up. Some ushers were like, whatever. like most of the COVID world, some people take it seriously, some people don't. And that's what I got out of the fans at PNC. And then there was me, who got popcorn, and that's the obvious excuse because you take one kernel at a time.
Well, of course.
You're eating, so you're fine.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's it's the perfect thing where, hey, put the thing up. Got popcorn here. Come on.
And I just eat one at a time. They put the thing up, and I just go on popcorn kernel. And if you eat one at a time, it lasts the whole game.
Absolutely, it does. I mean, unless of course you're a quick eater.
No, you just.
Oh. Got a bag of popcorn here.
Got a bag of popcorn.
Yeah, sorry about your luck.
Plus, the usher I had didn't care. He's like, I don't. He took his mask down half the time.
Yeah.
He's like, he said, oh, I think he golfs. He said, I golf with a professor at the University of Pittsburgh from the biology department that says it's a bunch of hooey. If it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me. I'm not getting vaccinated or wearing a mask.
Okay. Oh, Lord. Yeah. All right.
Funny.
Well, that's good. 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline open for business. And the best part of last night is your Royals won. So, and Jorge Soler was good.
So good. And like I said, one of the crazy plays happened, which you don't normally see in baseball. A guy carries a home run over the fence.
All in all, it was a good day.
It was good.
Good day. Other than the fact you had to go back to your car.
It is always fun to watch baseball fans progressively get more and more drunk as the game goes on. Because there's always that one guy that wants to heckle every player that comes in the game.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
But when that person, their jokes get less and less creative as the game goes on because they're more and more hammered.
Those are the people you kind of feel sorry for.
And it's more when there's less people in the crowd, because there's only 7,000 allowed in PNC right now.
Yeah.
it's a lot more apparent. Like, you can hear it a lot more than you can if there's a bunch of people around you.
Yeah, and that's a ballpark that's seating a little over 30, 32, 33. So just hopefully soon, maybe.
Well, the Braves are doing full capacity.
Yeah, the next homestand they will be.
The Royals are going up to 17,000 in May.
Okay.
Which is probably about closer to 50%.
Yeah.
And I don't know what PNC is going to do in May, if they're moving it up or not. I know that Texas has been full capacity. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and like I said, it's when everyone's ability to get vaccinated, whether you do it or not, remains to be seen.
It's probably as much up to the city as it is to the actual.
Sure, and when we brought it up a few days ago, where we were both under the impression the Bills were the ones that said, hey, everyone has to show proof of getting vaccinated, and that wasn't a Buffalo thing. There was a Erie County thing where they said, hey, you come into our facilities, and our meaning that we own this facility because it is owned by Erie County, not the Buffalo Bills. You come into our facilities, you're going to have proof of being vaccinated, and we'll go from there.
Is that legal and constitutional? Can they do that as a county?
I wonder if the same
That's
thing.
Weird, because it's not a public business anymore that can say like McDonald's, no shirt, no shoe, no service.
Yeah,
that doesn't work. That argument doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't work anymore, because if it was the Bills, they could sit back and fall back on the argument of this is our business and these are our rules, and you're going to have to apply them. This isn't Buffalo doing it; it's Erie County. So now, are they violating HIPAA laws?
Now it's a branch of a government that says.
And I don't know if that flies.
I'm not privy to legal knowledge enough to know if that is.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know if that flies, because you've now taken that decision away from the business, and you've set it as a governmental entity.
That makes it scarier.
Yeah, that does kind of make it a little frightening. I'm going to be curious to see tonight, because Goodell has been vaccinated, and apparently the bro hugs are going to start back up again, where he's now allowed to. He's now allowed to hug the guys that get selected in the NFL draft tonight. And hopefully the tradition of him getting roundly booed, will continue in Cleveland. Hopefully somebody puts a picture of Roethlisberger on the Jumbotron, and everyone will lose their mind. So there you go. There's your booing for Goodell if you need to do that. I got a kick out of whenever I went to a Cavs game and covered the Cavs. If they wanted a lot of noise, it would either be 1 year removed from LeBron leaving the first time when he went to Miami, show a picture of him, everyone would loudly boo him, or once LeBron came back and everyone was like, oh, LeBron's back, tearful reunion, they would show a picture of Roethlisberger, and everyone would just go nuts and boo and whatnot. It was kind of hilarious to see that. So I'll be curious to see what the city of Cleveland and the Browns Nation, which is going to basically be 99% of the people in attendance, what they're going to be like.
And the thing about last night, we did dodge the rain. It only rained for maybe 15 minutes.
We didn't get any rain on the baseball field at Pemberton.
It was dry the rest of the night. So as scared as I was Tuesday, because that dang weather forecast said storms all day, it never stormed. It barely rained. And thank you, weatherman, for making me think that I was going to miss that game for nothing.
Yeah, I was thinking that I wasn't going to get my Wednesday gig with East and Sebring
you
in
were already
Pemberton.
Scheduling your trip to put some Skittles on the golf.
Exactly. And I was like, well, wait a second. Now I can't. And that's a good segue, because Jason Kokrak golfed earlier this morning in the first round of the Valspar Championship.
Your pick, by the way.
He is 4 under, which has him in a tie for 5th place after 1 round of golf. Keegan Bradley is in first place at 7 under.
Who?
Keegan Bradley. Yeah.
Where's has my guy teed off yet?
Who are we talking here?
Let's see. Let me see. Okay. So I picked Victor Hovland.
Victor Hovland. Going down the list. Going way down the list.
Oh, God.
Going
Hopefully he didn't tee off.
way down the list. Oh, boy.
He didn't tee off.
I hope he didn't tee off here for your sake.
He's good.
Holy smokes.
He didn't tee off.
Going way the hell down the list here.
He's not this bad.
He's even through 4 holes.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. He's got most of the round yet.
Okay. And Brian picked Paul Casey.
Oh, Casey is 3 under.
Okay.
He started out bad. He and Kokrak were golfing together today. So he wound up 3 under par. Now, I will tell you that my little how do you do with Brian's help is I'm doing pretty decent. Or at last I checked, I was doing pretty decent. Let me run through.
Oh, geez. Last he checked now instead of be.
I am at 90 points, which is putting me so close to the money.
Show me the money.
Yeah, I'm at 90 points right now. The only golfer that has 2 golfers that have screwed me to this point, Patrick Reed is 1 under for the day. I had him over Justin Thomas, who is 3 under through 3 holes.
That's not bad. That's only 2 shots. It's fine.
Yeah, but Thomas has the entire round yet to be played.
That's fine. He can still implode.
Bubba Watson finished 1 under, and Homa is already 2 under through 4.
Yeah, he's got plenty of time to implode, too.
Hopefully he does implode. I have Kokrak with 10 points. So I have 8 out of 10 golfers, plus the 10 points for Kokrak being in the top 5. Yeah, being in the top 5. So I get 90 points.
If your pick gets in the top 5, you get 10 points?
Yes. Whoever wins. And if he wins, you get 15.
Oh.
You get 15 points.
All right.
Yeah. So right now, 115 points is showing the way. So I'm at 90, so it's not that far away. Not that far away. I just need a little bit of help.
You want to take a break and then head right into Dave Chrisman at 2:15?
Indeed, he's going to be calling in. So let's take a timeout, and we will be back momentarily on this soggy Thursday edition of Running Point. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to be playing any games today, which.
But we'll still be talking to coaches, which is good.
This is true, but some teams, as we have made mention, they probably need the rest, especially a couple of softball pitchers that.
And Lisbon might be because Emma Thompson has been hurt for a while, and they've been just leaning on Maya Emmerling for the last couple of weeks. So maybe Maya Emmerling needed a couple of days.
This is not a bad scenario for some teams, that's for sure. All right, we'll take a time. I'll be back with more. Stick around.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
News doesn't stop after the sun goes down. Sometimes you just have to hustle to get it. At 21 News, no matter how far it is, no matter what it takes to get there, we're working to bring you the best stories and the freshest content at 11 p.m. with the context and clarity that makes it worth staying up for, no matter what time it is. 21 News at 11 with me, Aaron Simonek, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 11, news that's worth your time.
WRS Wealth Advisors is the area's premier wealth and retirement specialist. With our combined 70 years experience and comprehensive wealth strategy, we assist our clients attain their goals. Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services, or visit wrswealthadvisors.com. Good luck, athletes.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, we go the extra mile for you.
By finding you the right vehicle at the right price.
And by being with you for every mile of your journey.
Now, we're going the extra mile for you with an additional $1,500 on your trade. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
For heating, cooling, and indoor air quality, the Mahoning Valley trusts MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning, offering worry-free repair, service, and installation. Call MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. We're your energy-efficient experts.
If you're looking for a new Ford vehicle, why shop anywhere else but Tri-State Ford? Choose from our great selection of new Ford models. Plus, we've got you covered with our exclusive Tri-State Ford Advantage. It includes a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty with your new Ford. Come see why so many customers from the Tri-State area buy their new Ford at Tri-State Ford.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Point, and welcome into the 2 o'clock hour as we will be talking some softball momentarily with the head softball coach of the Lisbon Blue Devils, Dave Chrisman, upon getting his 300th victory recently. Coach Chrisman will be calling in about 5 minutes or so, and then later on in the hour, Mariah Ciccolelli, the head softball coach from Jackson Milton, will be calling in at 2:40, and we will hear some Jackson Milton Blue Jays softball with Mariah Ciccolelli. All right, 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline open for business. I'm assuming that most, if not all, of today's action is pretty much toasted.
Yeah, as far
at
as
this point.
As far as I mean, the game I was scheduled to broadcast is canceled, and I was scheduled to do Poland hosting Canfield softball, so that one is for sure canceled. And a little bit later, I'll bring up the spreadsheet that we have and go down the list on which ones are officially official.
It just unfortunately it is a very very tough day to do much of anything because the rain has just been falling all afternoon, all morning and afternoon long, and it's tough, especially if you don't have a tarp. And even if you have a tarp, you better get a bunch of people that are going to be more than willing to pull this very, very, very heavy tarp filled with water off of your infield, and then you have to do some yard work in the infield, and it just Mother Nature is just not cooperating today, unfortunately. It is what it is. But like you said, I mean, there are some teams that most definitely need a break.
It cooperated yesterday when we didn't know if it would. So we got off. We got the one day, and now the universe and Mother Nature is like, well, we gave you one day. We're taking the next day.
And that's, again, that's not the worst thing in the world.
The other thing that makes it nice, it's warm still. And warm rain is much better than cold rain.
Yeah, definitely.
And cold rain is better than cold snow. So, considering that we were in the snow, last Thursday?
Yeah.
I'll take what's the temp? I'll take 70s and rain.
Absolutely. Now, tomorrow, and it's 68 degrees right now in East Palestine. Tomorrow it's going to be 54. So it's going to be a little chilly tomorrow.
Yeah,
but Saturday and Sunday, 65 and 78.
Moisture cools things off for a bit, so.
Yeah, and that's not bad at all. So, the weather is, we're not going to get any rain this weekend. It's going to be relatively dry, so should be good to go. We had Dan Bertolini on Tuesday. I'm sorry. We had Coach on Tuesday, and he said the weather forecast for Chicago in the very much anticipated series with UIC, it's going to be pretty nice. Cold on Friday. It'll be a high of 51 degrees, but plenty of sunshine. And then 78 and breezy on Saturday, 72 on Sunday with no rain. So it'll be nice, and the Windy City will live up to its moniker on Saturday. So it'll be nice as the Penguins take on UIC, second place up for grabs in the Horizon League.
Right. And softball has some important series coming up too. So.
Yeah, softball. I looked at the standings. They got a 3-game lead. Yeah. I mean, they're in really, really good shape as the Penguins come into this weekend with a record of 22-6 in the conference, 29-11 overall.
All they have to do is finish, and they'll be hosting that Horizon League tournament.
Yeah, and UIC is the team that is behind them at 20-10. So the Penguins are 4 up in the loss column. Now, UIC has played 30 games. Penguins have played 28 conference games. So the Penguins have a 3-game lead on UIC. And again, as long as UIC takes care of, or I'm sorry, as long as the Penguins take care of business, they may very well get home field advantage in this tournament, and boy, that would be fantastic for the YSU softball team.
I think so, and man, imagine if Youngstown State could host the Horizon League tournament for softball. What that would mean for the program, and what that would mean for that's something that you can definitely bring recruits into, and show them this is our standard. We host tournaments. We're taking the spot away from UIC, who has been historically hosting the tournament for the last, 5 or 6 years. We've taken that from them, and it's not just a good thing for the fans. It's a good thing for recruiting to say we're hosting the Horizon League tournament.
Well, the other thing is there's way more softball teams in the Horizon League than there are baseball teams. One would imagine it's an 8-team double elimination tournament instead of a 4.
This year, because of COVID, they're doing 4.
Okay. Well, that's... And then right now it would be Youngstown State, UIC, Oakland, and Robert Morris right now.
Obviously, they don't want to put more than 4 teams in one spot.
That makes sense. All right, let's get to the phone lines. We're talking some high school softball. The recent 300-game winner.
Perfect segue, because Coach Chrisman coached Kennedy Vrabel, who is on YSU softball as well.
There you go. Dave Chrisman, the head softball coach of the Lisbon Blue Devils, joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Coach, congrats on the 300th win.
Hey, Ron and Anthony, good to be with you, and thanks so much. I appreciate it.
When you look back on these 300 wins, and you've coached so many fantastic athletes at Lisbon, Kennedy Vrabel just being one of them, because we were talking about YSU softball, but so many others. What are some of the things that you look back on and you just treasure so much now that you can – this is a moment that you can reflect a little bit with 300 wins being a milestone?
Well, there was a lot of reflection going on Saturday. I just heard from so many past players, and I think that's what it's about for me. It's just the relationships you build over the years. One of our quotes was always on an awards night that once a Blue Devil softball player, always a Blue Devil softball player. And just hearing from these kids and keeping in touch with them, and then seeing some of them like Kennedy move on to the next level, it's just really, really special to be part of that.
Dave Chrisman, the head softball coach of the Lisbon Blue Devils, joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Coach, the EOAC this year has been been a fun division, and you've had your go-around with Columbiana already. Beat the Clippers in the first game, had them down in the second game before Columbiana came back and took the victory. Anytime you go up against Columbiana, you know it's going to be really, really good softball. Let's talk a little bit about the EOAC and how this division is preparing you for the upcoming tournaments, Coach.
Well, we knew going in, United was much improved. We have some really good coaches in our league, and you know, I have a connection with Columbiana, obviously, and I know how athletic those girls are. I know the coach, and I knew when she was a player and I was coaching how formidable she was. I knew that their program was going to be solid. And we were coming off of a weekend at Akron, and we lost Emma Thompson, and it was just, to me, it was a huge gut check for our girls to get that first win at home in a comeback fashion. And we really did show up to play on the next day. We just kind of ran out of steam. They have a nice team. They saw our pitcher several innings in a row, and I just felt like they got to her. And those were legit hits. So, you know, hats off to them. Hopefully we can both do our thing, finish up the year here, and see if a split is in order. But, you know, we still have softball to play against formidable teams.
And yeah, I want to bring up we are so sad to hear the Emma Thompson injury because she was having such a good season. But Maya Emmerling really stepped up for you guys and took a hold of that one spot and has really been pitching well since that moment. What have you seen from her and that mentality of just stepping into the role and taking over the leadership of being in the circle a lot of the time for you guys since that injury happened? Yeah, it's funny, Anthony, that you know, when Emma went down that day and we had some communication, Maya and I, and I'm like, you're going to be the big game pitcher at this point. We have a nice freshman pitcher, but she just needs experience. And so Maya's like, yeah, I'll take that responsibility. I think she's accepted it well, and I think she's come in and just had some outstanding games since then. And I just know when I have her out there, she's going to give 100%. And with knowing she's going to be into the game mentally and physically, you know, I feel confident with that. So it's a next man up attitude when you lose a girl as, you know, big as Emma Thompson was for us, and we're just going to keep plugging away and see where we get with this.
Anthony and I spoke a little bit about this, and we'd love to hear your opinion. Days like today where you know Mother Nature is going to get the victory, it's not really the worst thing that can happen, especially if you have a team that might be a little short in the pitching or are just tired and need a break. The one-day break can do wonders for a team.
I think over the years I've learned that, Ron. It's like even in basketball, you know, the grind gets to everybody, including the girls, and so days off here and there are kind of a blessing. And now this week for us, I'm going to sound really selfish now, it's prom week. And so we were scheduled off today anyway and tomorrow because of the prom. So I think coaches always look at prom week and they're really excited for the girls, and the girls are excited, but you're always like, okay, what are we going to be like when we come out of that little bit of a layover? So, you know, we'll see what happens come in on Saturday when we practice again.
You know, in your 300th win over Salem, Morgan Lively pitched really well, shut out the Quakers. What do you see from her in the circle, and how good is it to have that confidence that you don't have to put it all on Maya Emmerling's shoulder, that you do have someone that can come in and give you solid innings and really give her arm a break?
Well, that's kind of the conversation we had with, you know, Morgan, is that she's got to step up. Maya cannot do it all, especially in a stretch where you're playing, you know, 3-4 games a week, some back-to-back games. And I just thought she responded really well. She needed that. It was a great confidence booster for her. She can throw hard, and she throws strikes. And when she does that and we play defense behind her, I think she found that out on Saturday, that she can compete and she can go do that and be legitimate. So, you know, that was huge for us and huge for her. So we are counting on her to pick up some innings here down the stretch leading into tournament play.
Dave Chrisman, the head softball coach of the Lisbon Blue Devils, joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Coach, is there a perfect formula in terms of how many games or how many innings you need your young freshman to throw to get your leader ready to go come tournament time?
Well, we try to, keep track of pitches. In fast pitch softball, it's not as relevant as it is in boys baseball, but, they get up to that 100 pitch mark, and then we start really trying to track how effective they are. Are they still throwing strikes? Is the other team tagging them at this point? And, coming off of the COVID year, and I know some of these girls didn't get to pitching coaches like they normally would. We didn't get to play winter ball, so it was catch up for us. And so I think Morgan's up to that point now that she could do an 80 to 100 pitch outing and be fine with that. It's just the back-to-back days, I think, at this point for us are tough. I look at the girl from McDonald, and she's pitching almost every day, and I'm thinking that's a girl who's put time in, and that she's probably strong enough to do that. R2, we just wanted to build up to that, and we were even rotating, with Emma Thompson until everybody got arm strength up to par. But now those two are sharing most of the duties.
And I like that you brought up McDonald, and I'm looking at the rest of your schedule. You got 2 more EOAC series with Latonia and Southern, but then you have McDonald, Crestview, and Minerva sandwiched into those 2 series. So what are you looking for in this last stretch of the season before tournament starts? You got some tough non-conference games, and you get to finish up the EOAC with 2 more series with that. So what kind of things are you looking for as this season winds down?
Well, we always have this conversation about playing your best softball come tournament time, and I really felt like coming off of the Friday, Saturday Salem games that we were playing really good softball. Now, with prom and a little bit of an interruption, and we'll get it back together on Saturday. But I think I like our stretch of games. I'm looking at the weather. It's not looking great for Monday and Tuesday next week. So I'm hoping that, we don't lose some of those games. There's a possibility because of league play we're going to end up losing some of those non-conference games. But I like the idea of playing a really good Crestview team, a really good McDonald team, a good Minerva team going into tournament play.
I don't want to be disrespectful to any program. But I won't use one of the names or any name for that matter. But if you have a team on your schedule that's left that you've got a really good chance at winning, but you lose that because of Mother Nature, that kind of sucks because that's part of the momentum that you're hoping to get on your way to the tournament.
Correct. And I think weather-wise, I'm hoping next week really turns around because you want to be playing, at least 3 games, in my opinion, that week going in to keep arms fresh, to keep, your defense on their toes, to see good pitching, I think, is a key going into tournament play and making those adjustments. So I'm just hoping we don't lose those. Now, our Latonia Southern series is going to have to be completed one way or another. We run into this every year. We're going to have the 10th is actually our sectional start for a lot of the teams. So we're supposed to play Southern on the 10th and the 11th. So you're looking at probably a reschedule anyway. So some of that stuff, it's just up in the air right now come into the season.
And me and Ron were talking about this earlier in the week when we were talking about some teams that are using one pitcher and might want to make sure they're fresh for tournaments down the season. I mean, if you have, in your opinion, not this year, but just in general, if you have like 2 or 3 non-conference games at the end of the season, and you already have your spot in the conference lined up, what's your opinion on maybe resting your quote-unquote one pitcher and maybe sacrificing your best chance to win those last games to make sure that player is fresh for tournament time?
Oh, yeah, I think that's legitimate, Anthony. I mean, let's just use a scenario. We play Monday, Wednesday, Friday leading into a Monday tournament game. I would pitch my starter on Monday, and then I would probably let her have that day off or pitch her on that Wednesday, but she would definitely have a 2 to 3 day resting period leading into that first tournament game. And then you use your other 2 to get the experience if you have that luxury of having 2 other pitchers.
Now, I love when we get into tournament talk and coaches that have the thought process of, I'm saving my ace for this particular game. And I always love that because you're opening yourself up to be second-guessed by everyone because come tournament time in a single elimination tournament, you're not promised tomorrow. So if you don't throw your ace and you wind up losing, oh boy, do you get questioned all the time. So come tournament time, I'm going with my ace because there is nothing promised to this team come tomorrow.
Well, and that's the thing, we went to this several years ago about back-to-back league games. And I was not really a huge fan of that, especially if you only had one girl. Let's just say she was good or not so good, but you have one girl, a team gets to see her 2 days in a row. Back in the day, it used to be we would play, then you went through everybody a first round, then you come back and played them again, and it was a little different scenario. So in tournament play, if you play on a Monday, you do get a day off, and you're going to play somebody different on a Wednesday. So that's not too bad, and it gives your number one a chance. Baseball, it sucks for them because, typically if they pitch a whole game, then they're kind of shut down. But with softball, we can do that. So you're right. We would usually use our number one going in.
Yeah, and as we look towards the tournament, don't want to get you looking too far ahead because that's our job in the media. But, man, this Division IV bracket, it's going to be really fun. And you look at some of the teams. Who are some of the teams maybe outside of the quote-unquote coverage area that might come into this super district that fans in the area should watch out for in Division IV?
Well, just doing my research, I know East Canton's really good. We lost to them 2 years ago, and we just had a high-powered offense, and they shut us down. And, they have a nice senior pitcher back, for upperclassmen that are hitting the ball really well. Lost to a state-ranked Strasburg team by 1 run and then 2 runs. So their quality, and they're going to be there. McDonald's good. That Brookfield's got a nice team. Badger's got a nice team. Bristol's got a nice team. And then Matthews is just lights out. So, yeah, there's teams in there. Jackson Milton's playing great softball right now. It's just it's going to be very interesting how that top, I would say 1 through 6 pans out. You got 8 byes. Who's going to take it? Who wants to play that first round? Those kinds of things.
Coach, are you good with the Super Size Me district tournaments, which I have a feeling are going to be around for quite some time? Are you good with this new format, or are you more of a, hey, let's just play our area and let the other folks up north play in their district, and we'll have 2 district winners there instead of combining the 2?
Well, I'll tell you, Ron, going into basketball, I was very skeptical, but I really like it. I think it gives you way more options. I think it gives you way more choices. Before, the state had taken it upon themselves. If you were a number 1 seed, then you went here, and then it was kind of locked in, seeding-wise, once you were given your seed, who you were going to play. And I didn't like that. You didn't have any choices. So, to me, this is just much better, and I hope they stick with it.
Well, the quality of softball, and Anthony and I have talked about this, and I've even said over the last 8 or 9 years, we have sent more teams to the state semifinals and state championship games in softball and baseball than any other sport, and I would include football and our winter sports as well. The bottom line is there's so much talent in the Super Size Me tournaments this spring that I'm going to actually feel bad for some of the teams that you just mentioned, because Matthews is solid, McDonald is solid, East Canton is solid, you guys are solid, Badger is solid, Jackson Milton is solid. There's only room for 2 people or 2 teams. So I already just mentioned 6. 4 teams are going to be on the outside looking in going, what just happened here? That is some really, really impressive. Winning a district championship is going to be an extremely impressive thing to do this year.
Well, it is a great area for softball, and I'm part of that Northeast Region Coaches Association, and we we have these meetings, and you have all state kids coming in, and just the numbers you see, and then they do an underclass tournament. And our region is always represented really well, like they win that thing amongst the other. We just have great softball in Northeast Ohio. And you know what's ironic about our super district this year is that I believe that Northeast 1 and 2 are going to play each other in a regional. So out of those 24 teams, unfortunately, only one of them is going to, get to that regional final. So, that's just the way it panned out.
With the missed year coming into the season, we were all wondering what would be the part of the game that kind of is most affected by that missed year. Maybe it was to be the pitching, maybe it'd be the hitting. In my experience, going to all the games that I've gone to this year, it's really the defense overall that has been most hurt by it, and I think it's because the pitching, you can do that individually, you can hit individually, but the communication with your teammates, when you miss a year, that it doesn't matter how much you do in the offseason, that's going to be hard to kind of replicate. Have you seen that yourself from all the softball you've seen and from your team and the teams you've played against, that maybe the defense and especially the communication on defense is the thing that has been most affected by the missed year in 2020?
Yeah, I think for sure, when you're meshing kids together that missed an entire year, so in some cases you have kids that were basically in middle school coming up and actually trying to fill roles on a defensive unit, and so that cohesiveness is not always there. And defense is one of those things that I try to hang my hat on year in and year out. But when you do that, and you see kids as they continue to grow and mature, you're going to have a little bit of patience dealing with that, and especially in a COVID year, because you do have new faces, and they're learning those roles that maybe we had taken for granted before with a more mature team.
Coach, congratulations on the 300th victory, and just congratulations on the season to this point. And I look forward to seeing this softball team. Hopefully, you don't crush my alma mater too badly, and get hot going into the tournament. I look forward to seeing what Lisbon can do in the D4 tournament.
Well, we appreciate what YSN does. You guys are fantastic, and all the coverage that these kids are getting, I think, is just stupendous, and I want to thank you for all the coverage that you gave me on a wonderful day for me on Saturday. And, I think it's going to be real exciting. I can't wait to see how things pan out come Sunday with the seedings and get it going.
You've earned the coverage, Coach, and we'll see you again down the line, I'm sure, as the YSN broadcast more of your games.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for having me.
Dave Crimson, the head softball coach of the Lisbon Blue Devils. All right, we're going to take a real quick timeout because it's not a turnaround. Mariah Ciccarelli, I did a check swing and I checked in time. I checked in time.
I appeal.
Yeah, okay.
He says you're good.
Mariah Ciccarelli, the head softball coach of the Jackson Milton Blue Jays, will be joining the program momentarily. It's a Thursday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Hi, this is Jim Myers with Myers Family Insurance, your local Medicare and retirement resource.
We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Your first and last stop with your tax return should be with me, Tracy Bryden at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. No other dealer goes the extra mile to bring you the largest selection of vehicles at one convenient location. With guaranteed credit approval, I will find you the right vehicle and the right financing options for you. I am ready to go the extra mile to show you why no other dealer sells more cars, finances more, and gets you more for your refund than Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Point, presented by the aforementioned Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Thank you so much, Tracy Bryden, 1979 Leetonia grad. Got to pump my alma mater, you know. I mean, I kind of, sort of, may have said, I didn't mention them when I said Lisbon had Leetonia and Southern left, but I mean, we'll be honest, Leetonia is probably going to be an underdog against Lisbon in softball.
Well, you did say be kind to my alma mater.
Well, I did, because they're going to be an underdog against them. I mean, Leetonia's had a nice year in softball, and Missy Brock and John McElduff, Johnny Mack and I have been friends forever and a day. They're doing a nice job over there. It's just their pitching is not as good as some of the other D4 teams, and that's probably going to be the downfall. They sure as hell can hit the ball. Oh my goodness!
They're not alone. That's a lot of teams that
Yeah.
are. I mean, we talk about the pitchers, but really we talk about 7 or 8 teams that have like high quality, like they can go out every night and shut down every offense they come across pitchers. Everyone else is just kind of trying to navigate pitchers that they just have that are just either trying to get experience or trying to work through stuff. And we talked to Coach Schick last week. He's in that ballpark where he has a couple of young pitchers that are just trying to get experience and just trying to work out what they're good at. And a lot of schools, a lot of teams are in that same spot.
It's just, it speaks volumes for how important pitching is in softball. I mean, it's incredibly important in baseball, and it's the same in softball. If you have great pitching, you are going to go a long, long way in the postseason, as assuming that you can play defense and get some timely hits. You can go a long way in the tournament with some really, really nasty pitching. So we'll see what happens.
And if you're playing hard at the right time, that's what you got to be doing.
Well, yeah, I mean, let's look no further than in baseball, South Range was below 500 when they won their state championship, but they got hot just before the tournament, and they just stayed hot. And the defense was playing out of their minds good. The pitching was out of their mind good. And they got timely hits, and there you go. And then, with Champions Run, what was it, 3 years ago, where they didn't give up a run the entire tournament run?
2019.
Who does that? You go through 7 tournament games, 6 or 7 tournament games, and you're not giving up a run? Oof.
And then you're looking at a team like Jackson Milton, who we're going to talk about in a little bit when their coach calls in. They've pitched really well this year. Their ERA is 3 on the dot for their pitching.
That's pretty good.
They've been struggling hitting. Their average as a team is 182. So they're one of those teams that is trying to find a groove on offense, trying to find hitters to get live at bats and try to find what lineup works best, and that's what they've been kind of working through.
Yeah, it seems to me Jackson Milton gets hot offensively.
And it's a lot easier to find a groove on offense in a tournament than it is to kind of click on a pitching.
Oh, exactly. If you get a duck snort that falls in, and then everyone's like, okay, light bulb just turned on, now everyone's going to town, and you get on a tear. I would much rather have the problem of, okay, our offense hasn't gone in gear yet. I'd rather have that problem than our pitching is below average. No, if your pitching's below average, you're pretty much toast the first round of the tournament or shortly thereafter. But if you get hot offensively and put together 4 or 5 straight games of quality at-bats, you can go places with solid pitching. All right, and on that note, let's bring in the head softball coach of the Jackson Milton Blue Jays, Mariah Ciccolelli. She joins us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Coach, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, and it's nice to talk to a fellow Paisan. I tried to get Anthony to pronounce your name, and the Italian non sto bene for Antonio.
I got it.
Yeah. Ciccolelli. Listen, I teach 3rd grade, so imagine how that is in the beginning of the year.
Oh, Lord.
It just misses C. It just misses C.
That's all right. It's fun.
Your softball team is playing really well right now. They won 4 of their last 6. You're above 500, and we were just talking about it before you called. Pitching has been pretty sustainable this year. Riley Headley with an ERA of 3.0, and you're just trying to find some consistency on your offense. So talk about this season, what it's been like going through it, and what kind of things you've seen from your team, especially of late.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, honestly, the thing I know the girls know it too is our defense is really strong. I feel like everybody just has their position. They know where to go. They know what their role is in the field. And like you said, Riley has been fantastic. We also have Riley's a freshman. We also have Michaela Thornhill, who's a freshman, and they've really been splitting a lot of time on the rubber, and they have just blown me away. Just for them being both freshmen coming in to a high school season, they both play travel, so they know what it's like, but it's a different caliber when they come here and playing against, 17, 18-year-olds, and that was something that I had to kind of drill in their heads. Like, you're not playing 14U anymore. These girls have been playing for, 3-4 years of high school ball, but I just think that with our defense, we're strong, and like you said, we're trying to find the consistency with offense. Our girls can hit, and when we are on, we're on, but, it's a funny game, so sometimes we have to kind of figure out what's not working and fix that. But when everything clicks and everything's working for us together, we're a team, and we're a force to be reckoned with. I think that's kind of why everything has kind of just worked for us this year. I'm really proud of them.
Well, Coach, when you're playing in a really demanding league like the Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference Scarlets here, you got to be on top of your game night in, night out. And I would imagine playing a league schedule in the league you're in is getting your kids more than prepared for the D4 tournaments coming up.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing is anytime, we haven't been too lucky this week with rainouts and cancellations, and beginning of the season was kind of rough for us. The first week and a half, we had some reschedules and cancellations. So, everyone was kind of playing, and we were practicing. And I said, you know what, girls, let's just use this and kind of take it and run with it and work on the things that we need to work on. And it was tough last year not having a season, but I know some of those girls that are on those teams in our league, and we know what those teams are like, what the coaching staffs are like, and we know that, it is tough. So working on things and just kind of getting more confident, I think that was big for us to just be successful.
And I'm looking at your schedule, and man, is it back heavy. You have a lot of opportunities to make a statement before the tournament starts. You got Columbia on the left, you got 2 against McDonald, you have Springfield, Waterloo, and then 2 against Sebring. That's got to be, when you're looking at the schedule and you look at those teams at the end, no matter how those games go, you're going to know that your team is prepared for tournaments when it comes around because of who you played at the end of the schedule.
Absolutely. No, yeah. We were supposed to play Columbiana tomorrow with the rain out today. We kind of had to move some things around, and then we actually will be playing Western Reserve for the second time tomorrow. So that'll be a fun one. And then, like you said, I know McDonald is always so tough. And you're right, just being prepared and, and seeing that and seeing those teams. We saw a couple of those teams like Brookfield was tough in the beginning, Crestview. So, and we kind of hung with them, and that's the thing that I tell the girls is you come out confident and you guys have fun, do your thing, and play your game. You're going to be just fine.
Maria Ciccolelli, the head softball coach of the Jackson Milton Blue Jays, joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Coach Anthony and I have spoken an awful lot about this, and I'm sure it's probably ad nauseum, but it bears repeating all the time when we talk with coaches. The last time we had softball on the high school level was 2019, and the freshmen and sophomores back then are now juniors and seniors. How many of your juniors and seniors got varsity action before the start of this 2021 campaign?
Yeah, absolutely. We have 4 seniors. They all played varsity as sophomores. They started varsity and played. They all lettered. And then we had Chelsea Williams and Caitlin Beardman, who are both juniors, and they were freshmen at the time. And then we have 2 more juniors that joined us this year, and then one joined us last year, but unfortunately didn't get a season. So even 2 juniors coming in for the first time, really as varsity level. And then we have sophomores and freshmen playing for us. So you think about it, and yeah, we have some juniors and sophomores, whatever, but we really are young. But so total, that's 6 girls out of the 14 that I have on varsity that have actually seen varsity time.
And talk about your 4 seniors, because that's more than a lot of teams. I mean, there are some teams in the area that have 1 senior, no seniors, 2 seniors. You have 4 of them that are able to lead this rather young team and through this crazy season that a lot of them haven't had a lot of experience on varsity. So talk about how much you've leaned on those seniors this year and their leadership capabilities.
Yeah, that's something we talked about in the beginning of the season. I told them we're young. A lot of these girls haven't played varsity level and even high school level. So I wanted them to be those leaders, just to be there to pick them up. And I have Logan Grunder. She's our third baseman. Dana Saunders. She catches, plays first base. She actually, unfortunately, had an ankle injury, so she's been kind of, playing half a game here and there, just kind of making sure she stays healthy for the end of the season and then tournament play. So we have Cameron Mitchell as well. She's our center fielder. And then Jenna Jones, who plays left field for us. So all 4 of them, honestly, I just love them. They are such fun girls. And they're hard workers, but they make sure that the young ones are not only enjoying themselves, but this group just kind of gels together. And I really believe that it's our seniors. They all just get along. They all really lean on each other. And I think that's huge for a team. I honestly think that that's why we have been doing so well this season.
Maria Ciccolelli, the head softball coach of the Jackson Milton Blue Jays, joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. A couple more things before we let you go, Coach. Obviously, you want to win and get as far in the tournaments as humanly possible this year, but I get the feeling that you have some building blocks in place for this program to sustain itself long past 2021.
Yeah, no, for sure. We actually have a total we're lucky enough to have a JV team as well. So, high school from 9 to 12, I have 24 girls. So it's been something that has been lucky for me, as I guess I consider this my first year as head coach. Technically my second, but I didn't get to play anything last year. But having 24 girls and being lucky enough to kind of have that movement, even all 14 that are on varsity, they really can play a bunch of different positions. And the young ones coming up, they're just willing to do whatever is best for the team. So building on that, I know that, we mentioned Michaela and Riley. Building on that and having them just grow as pitchers. We also have Ava Darney, who pitches. She's a freshman. Paige Grope also pitches. She's a sophomore. So we kind of try to have them get their time in. And I really think that once everybody kind of gets their feet in this year, we'll be good for, like you said, a couple years to come. So.
And we know you as a head coach, you get the interviews, you get the responsibility of the wins and losses, but we also know that a head coach is nothing without their staff. So we want to give you the time to highlight the people that you have working with you and what they bring to the team and how important they are to Jackson Milton's success.
Oh, absolutely. I love my assistants. I have Karina Kennedy. She's my assistant, my varsity assistant, and I've known her since we were itty-bitty little. And then I have Amelia Minetti. She's the head JV coach, and she comes to everything for varsity as well, things that she can make. And, you know, those two, they're a couple years younger than me, so, you know, I'm 29, so we do have a young staff of 3 girls. But let me tell you what, when our brains start clicking and we start getting together, we come up with some pretty fun, crazy things. But I also lean on my dad a lot. He's coached forever. He doesn't coach with me, but we go to him for a lot of things too. He knows the game more than anybody I know. So those are like my 3 backbones, and I would be lost without Amelia and Karina this season. They just, when I don't have the answer, they do.
Hey, Coach, best of luck to you down the stretch. And if you need your kids to get hot in terms of getting the offense in gear, a little quick story, and then we'll let you go. We had someone dress up as a witch doctor because our baseball team was in a big-time slump, and the witch doctor put a happy curse on the bats, and they turned around and scored double-digit runs the next 5 or 6 games. So I'm not saying that it works, but it would be kind of cool for the kids and to loosen things up. So
I love that.
Yeah, a little nugget. So congratulations on your success to this point, and hopefully you guys and gals are playing hot softball going into the tournaments and make it a special tournament run for everyone.
Yes, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
All right, all the best to you, Coach.
Thank you.
Mariah Ciccolelli, the head softball coach at Jackson Milton. Yeah, that you can be the witch doctor.
No.
Yeah, put you in a funky
No one would
70s wig.
No one would trust a guy in a wheelchair to put positive vibes on themselves because obviously it didn't work on them. So.
Well, tell you point taken. Yeah. Point taken. That's kind of a dark point that you just took, but okay, point taken. Tonight we find out how many of our picks are doomed to fail. And I think McNuggies is going to pretty much bury us with his 10 picks. Who knows? So maybe we get a victory over him.
So we didn't invite him into the contest.
I still believe we should have gotten his ass out of 5th period and had him put his calls in. I'm just, who needs school? You're the draft guru.
I want to give a shout out to my cousin Alex in Kansas City, who's a senior at Crispin High School. They're playing at Kauffman Stadium today.
Cool.
So he's on a rocket, and Crispin Bears playing at Kauffman Stadium. So go, Alex.
I need a report for that tomorrow.
All right.
If you hit one into the fountains, I want to hear about that. All right. Power Hour is coming up next. Have a great rest of your Thursday, everyone.